Hey, hello Spurs fans, Paul Hotspur Hippie here with some more quality off-season bugger alls happening filler material. Sun setting out the window on another beautiful day here in Sydney. Hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. Hey Phil, nice to see you there. Here we go. Good morning, Paul. Phil's up and early. Hey, up and at 'em, Phil. What I thought I'd do today is, because there's nothing happening. If you want to know about speculation in the transfer market, I'll tell you what. Dave Harris at the Irish Hotspur has put up a video with latest, things that might be happening and looking at players. So, I'll leave that to him. It's a good video, man. But it looks like from the comments I'm getting that there's a fair few new Spurs fans coming on board, been enticed over by Big Ange. A lot of Australians are coming over. So I thought I'd really just go through a few bits of the important history of Spurs. I think it's good to know the history of the club you're going to be following for a bit, hopefully for the rest of your lives and your children's lives and their children's lives. But it might be just 4 years until Ange gets sacked, who knows. But what I'm going to concentrate on is some Bill Nicholson and Danny Blanchflower quotes. Now, a lot of Spurs fans, these names are second nature. But before I get on to Bill Nicholson, I should mention really Arthur Rowe in 1951. You know, all this sort of total football stuff that all Dutch football, isn't that fancy? Isn't that nice? Well, all of that was invented in 1951 by Arthur Rowe. And that's an absolute fact. You can go and look that up. So it was invented by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. That's the club you're getting into here. So this is the kind of history. It's a country of rich history, a country of rich history, a football club of rich history. And these quotes that I'm going to go through here, Bill Nicholson was he's like the Matt Busby, or no, rather, Matt Busby is the Bill Nicholson of Man United. It's the other way around, isn't it? Bill Nicholson is the life and blood of Tottenham. Should bloody well be a statue of him outside the ground. And if you ever see this, Levy, if you ever see this, shell out and get an artist to build a statue of Bill Nicholson. It would do a lot for the fans around the area, God's sakes. So these quotes for me set the tone of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So Bill Nicholson was the manager, the 60s into the early 70s, and Danny Blanchflower, 10 years service, captained Tottenham to the double, FA Cup and League double, first time it was done in the 20th century. Also, the first British club to win a European trophy, the Cup Winners' Cup in 1963. We should have won the European Cup in 1962, but there was a bent referee in the Benfica game. That's a fact as well. Jimmy Greaves said so. And when he was asked, oh, you might get sued, and Jimmy Greaves said, well, you'll need to find a shovel first. I think you know what he means by that. So we'll just say hello quickly to who's here? Audio Artisan, that's a cool name, man. Morning, bruv. Wayne Bonner, here we go. So everyone, hope you're all doing well, having a good weekend. Well, mine's nearly drawing to a close, but it was nice and relaxing. Last weekend's was a bit all go, so this nice one to relax to. Chris Agomba, afternoon, Paul, morning, everyone in the chat. Here we go. Tyler, hey Paul, love Aussie time streams. Well, I ain't got a choice, man. Although, I might get a bit nocturnal like when the season's on. Start, sleeping weird hours when Spurs are playing. Yusarian, top. Hello, brother. How you going? Yeah, here for your Spurs education. So here we go, man. This is the club you're getting into. So I'll start off with some Bill Nicholson stuff there. I mean, I just googled this, but this is sort of, these were the quotes that were kind of in the air at Tottenham, and older fans, especially fans older than me, not even my age. This is what they, heard these guys say, and saw it acted out on the pitch, and even in the 80s, there was this kind of lifeblood. Bill Nicholson was still involved with Spurs in the 80s as kind of a scout, a bit of an advisor to Keith Birkinshaw. But he's really the man that I guess people look up to as the father of maybe modern Tottenham. He was basically the guy that made Tottenham legitimately the greatest football team in the world. And that's why Jimmy Greaves joined us in 62, I think it was, because it was the best team on the planet, bar none. So here we go. I'll just rattle through a few of these, right? So this is Bill Nicholson. It's been my life, Tottenham Hotspur, and I love the club. He came down from up north. He played he was a player in the 1951 league-winning side that Arthur Rowe coached. I said we invented total football. Forget all this Dutch shit. We invented it. And he lived in Tottenham. I think he lived in Tottenham all his life, man. I mean, some people might correct me on that, but that's what I think he did. Another one. If you don't win anything, you've had a bad season. There we go. You see, we want to win stuff. Top four is not winning stuff. There's been a mentality change in this club in recent years that somehow top four is something exciting. I don't give a buggery about top four. I really don't. Right, here we go. Intelligence doesn't make you a good footballer. Oxford and Cambridge would have the best sides if that was true. It's a football brain that matters, and that doesn't usually go with an academic brain. In fact, I prefer it when it doesn't. I prefer players not to be too good or clever at other things. It means they can concentrate on football. And I think there's, he's not saying footballers have to be dumb. They just have to have football brains, know the game. That's their chosen vocation in life. That's what they have to focus on. So if you're shilly-shallying around, reading a bit of Keats or, looking through a telescope, you ain't got your eye on the ball, son, have you? Spurs have got to be the best in the land, not the second best. Where have we gone, man? Where have we gone? The public can't be kidded. They know what they want to see, what is good and what is bad and what is just average. At least I believe they do. And I think we've had two managers in recent years that maybe don't realise what fans want to see. I always said that it was an honour to serve Tottenham Hotspur, and I feel the same every time I walk back into the stadium. I mean, imagine that. Naturally, I'm a Tottenham fan, so as far as football is concerned, it means almost everything, doesn't it, really? Because I can reflect back to being a player with and manager of some of the finest players that have ever been in the game. Wow, wow. And like some of the guys he managed, I mean, Jimmy Greaves, one of the greatest English players ever. Danny Blanchflower, people would say some people would say maybe he's the best Tottenham player. You know, players like David Mackay, Mike England, Alan Gilzean. I mean, Pat Jennings. The list goes on and on and on. You know, these were all the best at what they did, and Bill was chuffed to manage them. It's a good one. It's no use just winning. We've got to win well. See, again, that goes against what we've been doing the last 4 years. I didn't realise as I was reading this out, I didn't realise that, you know, it kind of shows how much of a way we've lost, how much we've lost our way as a football club, actually, man. But you know, I think Ange is going to bring some of this shit back. That's what I'm really hoping. I mean, no one could ask for up the Bill Nicholson stand or anything like that. You know, even Keith Birkinshaw. But please, something. When it is played at its best, football remains the greatest game of all. And Tottenham, so close to my heart, is still to me the greatest club. Brilliant. Any player coming to Spurs, whether he's a big signing or just a ground staff boy, must be dedicated to the game and to the club. He must be prepared to work at his game. He must never be satisfied with the last performance, and he must hate losing. You know, there's some echoes of. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Ange is the new Bill Nicholson, but there's a similar sort of ethic there. I think because Ange, his never stop mantra. He's a big believer in hard work, gets you where you want to go, and not setting any limits. So you're never resting on your laurels. You're always trying to improve yourself. Just got a comment here from Wayne. These are all quotes from Bill Nick himself that the club have forgotten, just like our history. These quotes are pure love and passion for our beloved club. They are, man. They are. I mean, even reading them now, all these years later, it just. And I'm not the best at reading these, I must admit, but when you consider what they mean and what they would have meant to the man who said them, they're quite spine tingling, you know. If you don't have to drag yourself off the field exhausted after 90 minutes, you can't claim to have done your best. Fantastic, man. No hands on hips. No hands on hips with Bill Nicholson. You've always got to be on it. Always got to be on it. We must always consider our supporters, for without them there would be no professional football. It would be better to have more fans watching football the way they like it played, rather than have a few fans watching the football the way we would like it played. Antonio Conte, Jose Mourinho, Nuno Espirito Santo, AVB, Santini. I mean, God, come on, Tottenham. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? What are we doing? It's magnificent to be in Europe. And this club, a club like Tottenham Hotspur, if we're not in Europe, we're nothing. We're nothing. And we're not in Europe, are we? Even though the top half of the table basically get in, we're not in Europe. And this to me is Spurs. This is one of those quotes that is Spurs in a nutshell, this one. This is the last Bill Nicholson quote I've got here. But this is Tottenham, man. This is Tottenham. It is better to fail aiming high than to succeed aiming low. And we of Spurs have set our sights so very high, so high in fact, that even in failure we will have in it an echo of glory. That's what Spurs is about. It's about glory. It's not about counter-attacking 1-0 bullshit. It's about going for it. And even if you don't quite get there and you don't win, or you just fall short, you play a team that's better than you, you've done so well that even when you lose, there's a little glimmer of glory in it. And I think that's what fans like to see as well. Blind Asabat says they both have that never satisfied attitude, always improving. That's it. Bang on, man. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. It's a bluff hoggies. Your name does make me laugh. Morning. Blind Asabat, have you read The Ghost? Great book. I don't know that. I've not heard of that. Is that maybe something I should know? Let me know, man. If if you're suggesting something, I do like a good read. If it's like some crappy bit of non-fiction or something, then I'm not interested. But if it's something to do with Spurs, I'm definitely interested. Uh, Dope Boy Junior, big up, big up. John White. Oh, John White. Oh, of course, right. Oh, it's a book about John White. Gotcha, gotcha. Say no more. Say no more. I think was it a motorcycle accident? I've forgotten how John White died. I mean, I wasn't alive at the time, but I know about the guy. I was just seeing. I saw something about him not so long ago. I can't remember what it was. What was it? I think on the thing I saw though, there were players. I think I remember Dave Mackay talking about him. I might be wrong on that. I might be wrong on that. Melchizedek 144. Good afternoon, Australia. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now go on to some Danny Blanchflower quotes because Bill Nicholson apparently was a man of not many words. Bill Nicholson was not a man of many words. If you hear players talking about his coaching style, it was very simple phrases. Steve Perriman, I think, said uh, if you keep it quick, easy, and accurate, just simple. When the ball goes dead, you come alive. I'd love to know more of those little simple little football in a nutshell phrases, man. Quotes. Here we go. And if I'm not doing anything by my reading of these, I do. I've typed in Danny Nicholson. What a plonker, eh? Production, professional streamer. Here we go. Danny Blanchflower quotes. So Danny Blanchflower was our double winning captain, first British captain to lift a European trophy. When Bill Nick retired in the early 70s, I might be wrong on this, but I heard through the grapevine that he wanted Danny Blanchflower to take over as manager, but owners being owners, they got in Terry Neal instead, which went completely to shit because he was Arsenal. But as a side effect, we got Keith Birkinshaw, so it ended up not too bad in the end. Just before I get into Danny, let's have a say hello to more people in the chat. Okay, so that book, The Ghost, John White's book written by his son. Thanks, man. I'm going to check that one out. I am going to check that one out, definitely. I do like absorbing a load of history, Like when I was a kid and supporting Spurs, like when I was a teenager, you could go to the library and there'd be the odd little thing, mainly about football in the 60s and 70s. I can't remember really seeing a Spurs-specific book in the library. But now the internet, I mean, I bag the internet for all its evils, and it's made us into complete morons that can't do anything without a phone anymore. I mean, you can't even park your car in the street without downloading some bloody app on your phone these days. But it does give you access to all this history of Tottenham, and it's real fun to delve into this stuff, especially if you're new to the club. Even if you've been around a while, it's always good to refresh. I like refreshing it. Kim62, morning, Paul. I know through my dear dad how great Bill Nicholson and Danny Blanchflower were. I had the honour to meet the great man Bill. He was a gentleman. No shit, man. Wow. How did that come about, man? That's Oh, look. And okay, this is Bill Nicholson, the man himself. There we go. Lightning. That was it. Was he playing golf? Was he playing golf? It was pissing down with rain. Maybe that's what that's ringing a bell. What Dave Mackay, one of the players, was saying they were going to play golf with him or something. Yeah, lightning struck him. I mean, wow. So Yeah, okay. I will work. I will read that, man. Jockstein says there's Jimmy Johnston and John White. Wow, was John White up with Jimmy Johnston? I mean, Jimmy Johnston, man. Um, I don't know if I mentioned this on. I think I might have mentioned this on a stream of the Irish Hotspur or something. But Jimmy Johnston, man. If you wanna, I think I mentioned Jimmy Johnston because when Ange was coming down, I heard people poo pooing Scottish footballers. And if you've got a spare few minutes in your day and you're into a bit of football nostalgia, it is well worth going YouTube, searching Jimmy Johnston highlights, man, because uh, there's one the one I really like. There's a 15-minute one because there's some slow motion bits where you can see all these really subtle touches he's giving the ball, the way he's just caressing it around, and you see this guy, and he looks like a Messi to me, as good as a Messi. And I'm not like drawing a long bow on that. The guy was that good, considering the fact on some of the clips you'll see that the pitch is as muddy as all bloody hell, and they're leaving like 2-3 inch footprints every time they're running. So Jimmy Johnston, man. But you know what? I haven't seen much of John White play actually, so I might have a look and see if there's any John White stuff on YouTube as well. Because like if he's up there and Jock Steen says it, then bloody hell, he's got to be good, man. Playing golf, okay, yeah, Phil P, thanks, man. Melchizedek or Melchizedek. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing that right. Hotspur Hippie, where in Australia are you situated? I'm in Sydney. I'm in Katoomba. Well, I've got a good mate of mine that lives in Mount Victoria, and I'll be going up to visit him soon, and I absolutely love it up there. Sydney gets me down. It's just a big city full of people that don't smile, and all they care about is how much your house is worth and all that sort of shit. And I just like getting out to the country areas. The Blue Mountains is beautiful, beautiful, man. Although you've got parking meters coming your way, so I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry that all this city civilization is spreading your way. All right, so here we go. So Danny Blanchflower, our double winning captain in the 60s. Ideas, and I'll tell you one thing, a little thing about Danny Blanchflower that I really love. There was this program in England, and there was a version in Australia as well, called "This Is Your Life," where they surprise a celebrity, put them in a studio, and uncomfortably go through every bit of their life, and have loads of people that come on that they may or may not have hated, just blowing smoke up their ass. And in England, it was presented by a guy called Eamon Andrews, and he had a big red book, and he just ambushed people. They think they're just going out for a dinner or maybe an award ceremony, and Eamon Andrews had come out, ha ha ha, Danny Blanchflower, tonight this is your life. And Danny Blanchflower is one of only two people that I know of that said, I ain't doing it. It wasn't live on TV, but he said, I'm not doing it. It's an invasion of my privacy. And I'm thinking, what a man. What a man. After he retired from football, he did become a very well respected journalist. He was a very smart guy, as you'll see by some of these quotes here. Ideas are very funny things. They never work unless you do. Winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is. Yeah, man. And I'm guessing, I'm guessing he might have said this after a loss. Everything in our favour was against us. Now, apparently, a Spurs director said to him at one point, "The trouble with you is you think you know all the answers." And Blanchflower comes back and says, God love you. You don't even know the questions. That is how you talk to a stuffed shirt on a leather couch. These directors that don't know bugger all about football. Just give us your money and stay quiet. If we don't know what we're going to do, how can the other side? And that, from what I've heard about, there wasn't like strict coaching. There wasn't this pep style of football where you have tram lines and a grid, and you can only shoot if you're in square C2. It's like playing battleships or something. They just went out and played football. Bill Nicholson assembled a jigsaw puzzle together of of styles of play and personalities and characters that made the greatest football team on earth. And Keith Birkinshaw came damn close to doing the same again. I mean, he assembled a fantastic team in the 80s. Same thing, just he knew what the team needed, what would improve the team. It's all about chemistry, alchemy. It's not about spreadsheets, looking up someone's stats and thinking, oh, we need a right back. Oh, who's the most completed tackles and all that horse shit. It's about the man that you're getting. You get the right man, that's half the battle. Just going through a couple of, see if there's any, okay, just then to having a chat with themselves. Carry on, chaps, that's all right. We aim to equalise before the other team score. We should get our retaliation in first. I mean, you compare that attitude to the dog shit we saw in the home leg of the AC Milan game, where we were basically defending a 1-0 deficit. That was inexcusable. Whereas Danny's saying, get out there and equalise first. Okay, this one, an interviewer asks him, well, Danny, what is the secret to Spurs winning every match so far this season? That's not a bad question to be asked, though, is it? Brilliant, man. Danny Blanchflower says, most probably because in each match we've scored more goals than our opponents. There you go. Now, I don't know who he was talking about here, but he said he's a self-made man who worships his creator. Very quick on the wit was old Danny. Football is a simple game made complicated by people who should know better. Isn't that so true? I mean, that to me, that's just a simple sentence to me like that sums up so much about the modern game, how it's been just complicated beyond buggery, both with, over-coaching. So I think, coaches have coached the individuality out of a lot of players just to fit in with a system. And also all the structures around football now. Football director of sport. What have we got? Who's Scott Munn? Chief Football Officer. I mean, really. I did a video about that the other day. All that is just money coming in, and all the corporate suits, even though they're going into the game of football, which they know nothing about. At some point in the late 80s, they decided that football managers can't be trusted, even though they've been doing a perfectly good job. People like Brian Clough. What you're going to tell him he needs a director of football? Him and Peter Taylor were one of the best managerial double acts in English football history, really. Football is a simple game made complicated by people who should know better. How about that, man? At the 1961 FA Cup final, the Duchess of Kent said to Danny Blanchflower, asked him, why do... I won't do a snobby voice, No politics, please. Why do the other team have their names on their tracksuits and yours don't? And Blanchflower says, oh, well, Mum, you see, we all know each other. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Dear, oh, dear. And he must have been asked about Glenn Hoddle. Now, again, if you're new to Tottenham, Glenn Hoddle, go and look him up, man. But he is one of my favourite players. And he didn't really get as much of a career in an England shirt that a lot of people in England, not just Spurs fans, think he should, because he was one of the top players, the top creative player, that's for sure, in the Football League at that time. And for some reason, I think the suits, the powers that be, regarded him as a luxury player. And I've got a feeling, right, that they think of some players like this as luxury players, and this is just my own thoughts on a player like Glenn Hoddle, right? They can players like Glenn Hoddle can read and see the game so far in advance of other players, a lot of managers, a lot of fans, definitely like me. He can see like 2 or 3 moves ahead. It's like he's almost playing chess. And I think a player like that, when they can see that there's nothing on, then they're not going to really, do as much. If you see what I'm saying. But when the opportunities that they see that something might happen, then they make things happen. So I mean, I never really got that impression from Glenn that he just used to walk around the pitch, though. But that is the only possible reason I can think of why some in the football hierarchies or the English FA at the time thought that Glenn Hoddle was a luxury player. I mean, it was absolute bullshit. If we'd have built an England team around Glenn's strengths, we could have actually done something instead of being a bit mediocre a lot of the time. I mean, in the 80s, we underachieved, man. We really did. 82 especially, I reckon. Didn't even qualify in 74 or 78. Uh, morning, Tom 81. Good to have you back, man. Glenn Hoddle was an absolute genius. That's what I'm saying. He could just, it's what I'm just trying to think of an analogy here. I can't. I'm struggling to think of an analogy. He could just see the game in advance of everyone else. Is what I'm saying. And like when he had the ball, the strike, like Archibald and Crooks just used to run because they even no matter where Glenn was on the pitch, they knew it was coming their way pretty soon. And if they weren't on it, he was going to get pissed off with them. Okay, back to Danny Blanchflower here. Whether you're a player, manager, trainer, director, supporter, reporter, kit man, tea lady, football possesses the power to make the week ahead sparkle with a sense of joyous well-being. Isn't that so true, man? Isn't that so true? When I mean, it doesn't have to even be when life is getting you down, but there is something about football. There's something about when your team does well and you win a game, you feel like you've done it yourself. I mean, it's total bollocks. You haven't. I mean, I suppose you've cheered or well, me watching the telly, I feel 10 foot tall and I have no effect on anything, but it has that effect on me. I know, and I know a good friend of mine, mad rugby league player, like when his team wins, same team as me, St George Dragons, who won on the weekend. He feels 10 feet tall, man. He feels like a king for a week until the next game. And that's kind of the way I feel a lot of the time. If Spurs play well and just get me excited, it carries me through an awful lot. Flip side is when we're dog shit, it does get me down a little bit. And so for me, it was, even though we had a really terrible season and Leeds were shit, it was nice to finish on a winning note for me. I would have been a lot less happy if we'd have gone to Leeds and got thumped. Put it that way. So apparently, at one stage, a young Nobby Stiles, who was a great English player, World Cup winner with no teeth, who skipped around with the World Cup, which is brilliant. But he says, "Blanchflower, you're finished." Blanchflower says, "Oh, excuse me, son, I haven't read the program yet. What's your name?" Oh my God. I mean, you've got to have such confidence about your art when you're saying shit like that to Nobby Stiles, haven't you? Because he was a bit rough, was Nobby. Now, this is, I tell you what, man, this is putting yourself out on the line before a season starts. He says, "We've got a good side here. We will win the double this season." And he said that in 1960, so that was before the start of the 60-61 season. So this is a feat that no English club had done since the turn of the century. I think it would have been done maybe 1897, I reckon. I'll have a guess at lock it in, Eddie, or lock it in, Chris, depending on which country you're in. 1897. Never been done. It was almost seen as like not possible because it was such a huge feat to do, to win both the Football League and the FA Cup at the same time. It had not been done for so long. I mean, granted, there are a couple of world wars that maybe stopped play a bit, and he has the guts to say before the season starts, "We're so good, we're going to win the double." I mean, I can't believe he said that, actually, because that's got egg on your face, written all over it. Mark's in the chat there. Mark Satoshi. G'day, happy hippie. Yes, man. Yes, man. Thank you. And just like the last Bill Nicholson quote I read out sums up Tottenham, this is another one. So I think that Bill Nicholson quote goes hand in hand with this one. This is all you need to know about Tottenham Hotspur. Just two quotes. The one I read out from Bill Nicholson and this one. This is Tottenham. The great fallacy is the game. Sorry. The great fallacy is that the game is first about winning. It is nothing of the kind. The game is about glory. It is about doing things in style and with a flourish and going out and beating the other lot, not waiting for them to die of boredom. And I love that quote so much. I'm going to read it again because this it's one of my this is probably my favourite kind of Tottenham person quote ever. I think. The great fallacy is that the game is first and last about winning. It is nothing of the kind. The game is about glory. It's about doing things in style and with a flourish, and going out and beating the other lot, and not waiting for them to die of boredom. And if Ange Postecoglou comes at a press conference and uses that quote, you know what? I don't know what I'll do, man. I'll faint. I'll absolutely faint. I was going to say something rude, but you know, this is a respectable channel. We don't say rude things here. But I think that would be fantastic. Now, after he won when he got the league trophy in Scotland, Ange Postecoglou quoted, maybe it was the FA Cup, he quoted Tommy Burns, a big Celtic and Scotland legend footballer. And he said, as Tommy Burns said, you, the fans, you're always there, always there. And I've seen Ange come in for a little bit of criticism for using that quote. I think some of the fans think maybe that was a bit much. He was kind of maybe, the impression I get was they think he was maybe riding on the coattails a bit. And I don't believe that at all. I think that Ange just gave everything to that job. And if you're going to give everything to that job, you're going to say things like that. You're going to, because it makes it gets the fans so happy. And I think there's a message in there. Maybe he had an inkling that he might have been leaving the club, so he's telling the fans, you know, one of your greatest ever footballers and backroom staff has credited you, saying that you're always there, and Ange is just saying the same because he knows he's not going to be there. That's why I think Ange said that. But I tell you what, if Ange starts talking about glory, man, oh my God, I'm gonna love it. I'm absolutely gonna love it. All right, so who we got in the chat? That is that there endeth the lesson, and it's like off season, bugger all happening, no transfers. Ange is still off on holiday somewhere, having a bit of a suntan. I don't know what he's doing on holiday. Maybe he's reading a book. I don't know, enjoying some time with his family. Or maybe they're just moving all their shit down from Glasgow to London. So, I mean, maybe it's not much of a holiday. Or maybe they can just, you know, get people to do that for them. I hope he does. I hope that armoured truck full of his medals makes its way down to the M1 to his new home where he chooses to live. And I hope he finds it very nice and hospitable there. I know he had a great big welcome in Glasgow. I hope something, you know, he gets a flavour of that in where he chooses to move in London. I don't know if he's going to be moving on Tottenham's doorstep or wherever he's going to go, but I hope he's welcome. Right, so what have we got here? I've probably missed a few comments here. Ah, yes. Yes, you're right, Tom. You see, can you see what happened to me there when I see that name, Ron Greenwood? It's like I've gone from Danny Blanchflower, man. I've gone from Danny Blanchflower and Bill Nicholson to bloody Ron Greenwood. Why the hell was he manager? Why wasn't Brian Clough manager? I think I saw someone mention Brian Clough. Yes, here we go. Spurs on sabbatical. I tell you, Forza. It's not Les Bleus. I know my Italian's crap, but hello. Um, Brian Clough's philosophy was to find technical players who play football on the floor. I think one of something Brian did. What did Brian Clough say about that? He said something like, um, he said it was something like God created grass so you don't put the football in the air. I'm getting that a bit wrong. Don't kick the ball. Kick the ball in the air. That's what God created grass for. I think it's something like that. Something like that. Um, there's a really good documentary about Clough and what he did at Nottingham Forest. Not the movie, the Michael Sheen one, that Damn United. I didn't like that. I mean, it's all dramatised. You know, when things are dramatised about real people, I'm always suspicious on, what have they bullshitted about? Um, Let me see if I can find the name of this. While the off season's on, you might as well get stuck into some football history. I believe in miracles. That's what it is. I believe in miracles. It's a really nicely well put together movie. Takes you from the time Brian Clough lost his job at Leeds to European triumph with Nottingham Forest. I mean, an amazing story in football. I heard actually Coover mention this on Three Spurs Boys. After I finished my stream this morning, I watched Three Spurs Boys because they did a really fun stream, bit of quizzes and stuff. And Coover talked about Brian Clough, and I'm in total agreement with him. Brian Clough, he got Derby County a league title, went to Leeds, totally didn't fit in with that club. Uh, Eventually went to Nottingham Forest, who were in the second division, took them to the first division. Him and Peter Taylor. Won the first division, and quite a few of the players were ones that were playing in the second division. There were players like John Robertson who thought his career was done, buggered. But Brian Clough and Peter Taylor had belief in John Robertson, and he turned out to be one of the best players in Europe in what he did. He was fantastic. Like this was when I remember watching, games on TV. When Forest was winning the league and then their European Cup triumph. When they beat Malmo, Trevor Francis header from a John Robertson cross, bang, take that. That was in the days when I kind of didn't mind other English teams winning European trophies. I've changed my mind from that now. But I believe in miracles. Well worth seeing. Bloody hell, here we go. I've missed loads here, as usual. Let me see. Kim62. Great men and great quotes. They are the bloodline of this club. You're right. It's simple as that, isn't it? And at this point, I get into a more relaxed mode and just slob about a bit. Just relax. Save my old man back. There we go. And I'll tell you what. One thing I'm going to do, because I'll tell you what, I'm very happy with how the subscriptions are going. Thanks to everyone who's subscribing. Is when I eventually be able to start milking some filthy lucre out of this cash cow. Top of my list is a decent lavalier microphone, because I'm big on sound quality myself when I'm listening to stuff. And even though this is kind of doing the job, it's not up to what I want. I want it to sound good. I want it to sound really good. The picture quality, I'm not as fussed on. Cameras are like thousands of dollars. This is just a little Logitech webcam. I mean, I do have the Vocalist's microphone of choice, the awesome Shure SM58. You can bury this in the ground for a year, dig it up, and it still works. I've seen that done. But even though I've got a mic stand, when I'm often moving around, and I just want to be comfortable. I suppose I could hold it in my hand, but I'm always going to cock it up. Whereas a lavalier mic, that's top of my list. When I can start, creaming it in, and I can start being a rich businessman then, like Alan Sugar and Daniel Levy. Yeah, kick him out, knock it down, paint it, build it and flog it. Whee, whee. Business mantra. How hard is that? Mark Satoshi, to be the best, you have to make the white ball dance. Oh, who said that? Who said that, mate? That's a pretty good quote. Is that Brian Clough or is it one of our guys? Or is that one of your own? Because I mean, that's pretty cool, man. That's very true. The lovely Queen Ellie, as always. We I don't have any forelocks. I'll tug my back lock in your honour. I would only do that for you. I wouldn't do it for that sausage-handed moron, the quiche eater. No politics, please. No politics. This is a football channel. I don't know what that means, Ellie. I'm sorry. Is I don't know, but whatever. Nice one. Big up. I, I'm not. I don't know what emojis mean. I'm old, man. I don't know. Maybe I think you're younger at heart than me, Ellie. I'm just, a bit withered. Bit withered. Melchizedek, enjoying time off, then going all in with Spurs, man. So are you new over to the club, or have you been around a while, or are you like an Australian that's just discovered this beautiful club of ours, or have you been around a while? Uh, Ange is resting on the seventh day. I think he's having a bit more of a rest than that, mate. But he better have a bloody good rest because I mean, look at what he's got to sort out. What he's got to sort out. I mean, let's start with the fans. The fans are divided. They're pissed off. I mean, sadly, I heard last season it was getting so bad that the Tottenham fans were actually fighting with each other. It was that bad. They're all pissed off. Well, some's pissed off with the board. Some aren't pissed off with the board. I mean, to me, what that comes down to is you're going and paying good money, and you're not getting what you're paying for. You're getting dog shit on a pitch. We've had 4 years of terrible football, so he's got to bring the fans together. He's got to unite the fans. He's got to give the squad a good lick of paint. So there's going to be ins and outs. The team's probably not feeling too good at the moment. They'd be feeling, if they've got any souls in them, how the fans are feeling at the moment, disappointed. But the thing with fans is we're always forgiving as well. That's the thing. You're only as good as your last performance. He's got to switch that defensive, pragmatic team that's been trained that way for 4 years now into an attacking, dynamic force of nature. That's going to take some doing. And he's got to sort out what players are capable of doing that and who's not up to the mark. He's also got to manage the board as well, because he's going to have to be negotiating what he wants, He's got to get his coaching staff up to speed. It looks like Celtic might be playing a bit of hardball with the two guys that are coming down. Strachan is one. The other one, I can't remember his name. The other one's been at Celtic 25 years, I was reading. So it's a bloody long time. If a guy like that goes with Ange to Celtic, and he's been at Celtic 25 years, I mean, doesn't that speak something about Ange and how he plays football? Whether that happens or not, who knows, man. All that he's got to do. So Ange, for the love of God, man, please just have a good rest. Don't nip into Spurs and have any more photo. I mean, I really appreciate you standing there with the Spurs shirt. It got me very excited and just saying a few words. But just ignore all that shit. Get recharged, man. Get recharged, because it's gonna be a tough job you've got, man. And I think every Spurs fan wishes you all the success. Like Ange is watching, but you know what I mean. Tom says to cheer yourself up, watch Gaz's free kick again. I'm thinking about. I'm worried about getting like copyright bullshit happening, Tom. So I don't know. But it was good. It was good fun watching that, man. Never gets old. I've just seen. I've got a little WhatsApp message from Ellie here, so she's on to me about something. Oh, she's giving. Ellie's onto it. She's giving me some. She's giving me some tips on how to earn a bit of coin, but I can't be bothered with Patreon, mate. I just can't. Because what you know, look, if I get to 1,000 and I think I'll do the membership thing. I think for sure, but that's all with me doing little effort. Apart from bringing great quality off-season filler content. But the whole Patreon thing, I can't be bothered signing up and doing this and doing that. But I appreciate the thought, man. Um, and if I'm limping along in a year still at the same number of subscribers, I might do that. But I'm not really, I'm not really up for that at the moment. It's too much, too much. I'm not a technical person, man. The less logins and shit I've got to do, the better. Spurs on sabbatical. We're linked to quite a few big stars as per usual, and of course we won't sign one of them. Latest is Jadon Sancho of Manchester United, and we've been told we'll have to sell to buy. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if anyone's been told. I don't know where you're hearing that from. There's a lot of rumours going around. I don't know what to believe and what not to believe. I mean, Levy has done that in the past. I'd be very, very disappointed if that happens again because we've got the big cash cow stadium, which should be stopping this bullshit, you know. So I hope that's not true. I hope that's not true. You reckon my mindset? Look, to me, I like years ago, I used to do a bit of podcasting and other stuff. And when I was doing that stuff, because I wasn't like moving around or whatever, I did use this mic, and I do like decent sound quality. Like if you listen to who uses one? Let me think. I've seen a couple of guys use them. Like Jacob on the United Spurs of America, he uses a Shure. I've forgotten the model number, but it is like the ultimate microphone. It's the best microphone for this sort of stuff. I went a bit cheaper and got this one, but it's still close, you know. Um, I can't remember. There's a lot of people. If you see like a black shape, not shaped like this, but sort of all black with Shure written on the bottom. That's like the industry standard microphone to use. So that's what I want to get as close to as possible. What's going in here? I've got another WhatsApp here. Oh right. Oh thanks, Bobby K, man. Bobby K's just sent me a nice message. Bobby K, if you're still watching, we've passed the knowledgeable bit. It's onto the waffle bit, you know. So. Tom81, unfortunately, Levy trying to erase our history like it means nothing, an absolute disgrace. It really is, man. It really is. This is it frustrates me hearing about this. I mean, how hard I keep going on about it. How hard would it be just to put a statue of Bill Nick up? I always go Bill Nick's always my go-to because if I start talking about players, we've had so many great players that would be candidates for a statue. Something that really got my goat was when Levy was talking to all the posh born to rule kids at Cambridge Uni, all his rich pals. Sorry, I'm not going to get political. No politics, please. But he talks to them. He doesn't talk to fans and the working class people, does he? No. Well, he talks to them by Zoom and tells them a load of bullshit. But he's more than happy to sit on the padded, leather. I think he's done a great job. And he said at one point, he's talking about Harry Kane. He could, great career, blah blah blah. We could have a statue of him. And I'm thinking, you absolute tosser, man, absolute tosser. Talking about having and this is not a diss against Harry Kane. Don't get me wrong, man. But having some sort of, recognition like a statue for a current player. I don't give a shit how good he is. That's totally inappropriate. And if Levy even thinks of doing something as stupid as that, I'd be fuming. I'd be fuming if he put a Harry Kane statue up before a Bill Nick statue or even a Steve Perryman or a Darren Blanchflower. It's one of those guys, man. That would be absolute sacrilege. You got me wound up, Tom. You got me wound up. I've got to get a quick drink of water. So you just entertain yourselves for a second. I'm just going to get a quick glass in. And you know what, Tom? It wouldn't bloody surprise me if he did something like that, because it kind of fits in with what you're saying, man. It's like he invented the club and created the club in, what was it, 2001 or 2000 or whatever, and he didn't. It was made in 1882 by hundreds and thousands of people over the years. That's why I always say it's our club. Okay, legally, corporate ownership wise, and all that bullshit owns to, Enoch and that useless Burke in the Bahamas on his luxury yacht. God knows what he's up to. I mean, I'm not saying there's any truth in this rumor, but I have heard he is working on cloning. I mean, that's just a rumor. I don't think there's any truth in that. But we could have a little mini Joe Lewis that, well, mini me. I didn't really mean it that way. I think we're going to get an exact replica of Joe Lewis. He's that rich. Um, they want to think that it's their club that they've built. They want to take all the credit. But the club was around, 120 years before they arrived on the scene. They just happened to luck in at the time where the Premier League went just kaboom, kaboom. And like previous owners before them, they've really, in my opinion, milked the goodwill of the name of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club to grow their other businesses. If they didn't own Tottenham Hotspur, Enoch could just be some, two-bit casino, titty parlour place, wouldn't it, really? But because Tottenham Hotspur's in, it's like luxury casinos and, all this sort of stuff, and, maybe high class titty bars. I got it when I was playing snooker. Ha! You got to make the white ball dance. Okay, man, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I was having a bit. Got me on a sidetrack here. I used to love watching snooker. I haven't watched it for years. But the other day I was just rewatching the 1985 final, Steve Davis, Dennis Taylor. After hours and hours of playing, they're at 17 frames each. I think it was 20 past midnight on a Sunday night because they just carried on playing until the game ended. And it came down not just to the last frame, but the last black ball on the table. And the pressure on these guys was immense, and they both had a couple of fluffs. Davis then overcut the black into the pocket to be the world champion. Taylor already missed the chance as well, and you could see like Taylor, he's so flushed in the face, and he just nailed it. And the relief and the joy on that guy's face, I used to really enjoy watching snooker. That was a sport that got popularised on TV because of Pot Black. Because when the suits at the BBC, when colour TV came around, they thought, what the bloody hell are we going to put on colour TV? It's like, shit, we don't even know. We're so used to being black and white, and they probably were all black and white in their grey suits and bowler hats and umbrellas. They didn't know what to do with the technology of colour, but they had the great idea of putting snooker on the TV with Pot Black. Great people. I think I talked about this last night, didn't I? Ray Reardon and John Spencer and Cliff Thorburn and Bill Werbenick and all these guys. It was fantastic. I think I'm repeating myself. Oh well, maybe it's maybe I've had an audience turnover. Maybe people are watching tonight that weren't watching tonight. I could just say the same old shit. Goodfella Productions, Sir Matt Busby, the ball is round to go around. Hey, isn't it simple though? Just simple little phrases like that that just stick in your head, don't they? Dragging these nuts, g'day man. Spurs and sabbatical. Normally I eat my prawn cocktail sandwich whole, but I'm so browned off I'm dividing it lately. Oh, it means I'm a genius. Hang on. All right, hang on. If I'm a genius, then how come I can't work out? Where's the other quote? See, that says to me, HH, you are a gefist gehand. But, so there you go. I've just proved you wrong because I don't understand it. Uncle Cyril in a nice little combi-looking van there. It looks like. Good on you. Don't let the sheriff Mark see that van, because rumor has it when he was a little Beastie Boys fans he would have swiped one of those. So be careful. Wire it up to the car battery. Just as the English football supporters have discovered Ange, so the football world is discovering you. Oh, you're great to listen to. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, man. That's really cool. Of course, if there's any comments saying I'm an asshole or I'm a wanker, I'm just going to skip them anyway. So I'm going to have a bit of confirmation bias in the reports, because not that I've seen anything happen yet, but I'm assuming, and I've seen it like on channels when I'm on the Irish Hotspur, where they might have like 2,000 bloody people watching. You always get a few muppets in the chat, and I like what Dave does. He doesn't address them, and that's really what I'm going to do as well. I'm not. I don't want to be a drama channel. So if you want to put a comment in saying I'm a turd, I go for it. I'm just going to skip over it and ignore it because I don't care, man. So I'm not into that. Ah, come on, Spurs on sabbatical. Ange's going to have to bend over for Levy, as it's looking like Levy's picking the signings already. Nah, man, I don't. But I think you're off track there. I respectfully disagree, man. I think Ange is such a strong character. He's going to get more than you think he will of his own way. I'm very, very hopeful for that. I tell you what, certainly Ange is not going to bend over for Levy. He might have to maybe, work within certain boundaries, which I really hope he doesn't. But that is possible. I mean, Levy's got form for that. But Ange doesn't bend down for no one, man. Nobody. Liam, greetings. Do you have any thoughts on Aston Villa signing Tillemans? Could he have worked at Tottenham? Well, you see, this is where Ellie's genius tag is overrated, because unfortunately, my current knowledge of players outside of Tottenham is really limited, because it's this kind of the only games I watch, that and internationals and the odd game here and there. Um, am I right in saying that that's that Gooner twat that they let go on that's on a free? If that's the case, then Aston Villa have made a terrible decision. You don't want that filth anywhere near your club, do you? Go back to Woolwich. Go back to Woolwich. I was telling her a while ago. I was explaining to an Australian mate here about the rivalry between Tottenham and Arsenal. And I was telling him and I was getting quite fired up. And I said, "Yeah, those bastards! They weren't even in North London; they were in Woolwich, and they came and they just moved right next door to us. And then they were they didn't let us in the football league and all this sort of stuff." And then my mate said, "Well, when was that?" And I was like, "Oh, 1920 or 30 or something." And he just cracked up laughing. It's like that was like 40 or 50 years before you were born. It's like, yeah, but it still hurts. Still waters run deep, brother. Yeah, be careful with copyright. Yeah, I'll err on the side of caution for now, Tom. I might, I've seen other channels use clips here and there, but I want to kind of do it myself. I think, I don't want to come a cropper. Oh, right. Melchizedek, tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, please, man. Correct me, clue me in. I'm a new Spurs fan. Yes, man. Come on, you Spurs. Or an Ange devotee. Whoa, whoa, he's backpedaling there. I've been a Liverpool fan since the 80s, but Ange has this way of following him, I guess. In short, I love both Liverpool and Spurs now. Thanks, guys, for acknowledging me. Yeah, no worries, man. You support whatever team you want in whatever way you want, man. It's not a fascist system. No politics, no politics, no politics. But I hope you have a lot of fun supporting Spurs. I hope you have enough fun that you stick around a bit and forget those scousers. Those I don't know. What is Klopp? The man who's cracked, the man who's lost his marbles. What did he say? He said they play. We play heavy metal. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Tottenham this year are going to play good old-fashioned balls out rock and roll, mate. That's what we're going to do. You can stick your heavy metal up the arse because you can't even hum it. Whereas we're going to have rock and roll and we're going to let loose. That's what it's going to be at White Hart Lane, mate. We're coming for you, Klopp. We're going to put the final nail in your Anfield career, sunshine. Oh, God, what have I done here? I've clicked the wrong thing. Here we go. Oh, God, I'm such genius, she says. Genius. We wanted Sancho when he was at City. They wanted Marcus Edwards. We asked for Sancho in return. They said no. I mean, he might be a great player. I'm not. I'm not really fussed. Marcus Edwards is a player I'm not fussed on as well because I heard a former player. I think I know who said it, but I won't say who I think just in case I'm wrong. But it's like a well known, and I'm not saying because he was saying it on the quiet or anything. I just don't want to misattribute it. But it is a really good former player, and I think he was alluding to that one of the reasons we let Marcus Edwards go because he had a bit of an attitude problem. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I remember at the time when this player said it, I thought if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. Tielemans needs a good manager to get him on track again. He fell off a bit this season. This is Spurs and sabbatical season past, but Emery will get him going again. Well, Emery is, I mean, he had a flying into the season, didn't he? Because Stevie Gerrard, who a lot of people were using as an argument why we shouldn't get Ange Postecoglou, which I think was a joke, because Steven Gerrard been a manager for like 1 year, whereas Ange Postecoglou has been managing clubs and countries before Steven Gerrard was shitting yellow. So and it was in a COVID season, so that was all a bit weird. But Unai Emery, so Aston Villa were down and out, weren't they? They were playing really terrible football. They looked like nothing, had no identity. They looked like they were really heading down in the bottom half of the table, and Emery really got them ticking over very, very well. Again, Daniel Levy ain't going to put a statue up of a successful manager up outside the stadium because it would raise the expectation of fans. Hey, there might be something in that. There could be something in that. Which doesn't that just tell you about ego? I think that's actually a pretty good point. I was coming at it from the angle, which I still think is true as well. You can, both things can be true. That they want to give the impression that they created this club when they bought it. They made it what it is today. All horseshit, absolute horseshit. The fans made the club what it is today, mate. There's no two ways about it. No fans, you've got no club. No fans, you've got no high-class casinos and high-class titty bars, have you? No. It's the fans who made it. But you might be right there. If you put up a statue of Bill Nicholson, then people start, who's this cat? Who's this cat? They go finding out a bit more about Bill Nicholson, maybe even the tourists. The more casual fans. They start, who's the thing? Who's this? Maybe who's that then? Oh well, that's when we won we won bloody everything, and we were the best. We were the best. We were the best team in the whole world, bar none. And you go into the game with more expectation. So, could be a good point, man. Could be a good point. Never thought of that one actually. Never thought of that one. Melchizedek. I used to watch Ange play South Melbourne. Oh, okay, man. In the NSL days. What were those days like? I mean, I went to a couple of NSL games up in Sydney, but you would have seen a high flying South Melbourne. So would you have seen South Melbourne when Ferenc Puskás was coaching them for those 2 years? I'd love to know what you saw, how he affected play, how South Melbourne Hellas played in those days. Yeah, he wants to balance the books, yeah, but I know, yeah, whatever. sometimes I get a bit levied out, man. Um, I've said my piece on Levy basically tonight. Oh, here we go. I don't want to keep getting bogged down on it. The A League, right? Yeah, I agree with. Yeah, I've said this in a few videos. The A League killed the good old days in Australia for me. Anyway, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree. There was that big push, wasn't there? That it was around the time we were trying to get World Cup qualification for '98. And I think around that time it was like, oh, we need to completely blah 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 the whole football league because it's too parochial and it's all part of the cultural cringe in Australia. The way that Australia kind of looks down on the sport of football, but for the people who play it, really, it's all part of that, isn't it? So you've got to tidy it up. Um, maybe take some of those roots away and make it appeal to a wider base. And unfortunately, the risk of when you make things appeal to a wider base, you lose the heart of what made it good in the first place. And that's kind of what I've seen with the A League. It doesn't seem to be matches that are played with much at stake, much passion. I'm hoping when they bring in the second division that will change things a bit. But I was all for the A League. I know sometimes it had a bit of a bad reputation for a bit of trouble, but I don't know. I know worse happened in England, and yeah, I think it's sad, man. I think it's sad. I mean, you hear Ange talk about when he used to go to South Melbourne with his dad, and it's a Greek-based club, and he talks about the smell of the souvlaki and how this was a place where the Greek community got together, speak their own language, because if when you move over to a country as an older person, like if I move to, I don't know, Japan or somewhere like that, my capacity to learn a brand new language at my age is bugger all, isn't it? So it gave people a chance to reconnect with each other and their community. And it's a bit sad. I find that sad that that's kind of gone a bit away from football. It's probably gone into other areas. But, how far am I behind me with the chat here? Bloody hell, I'm so behind. You're all bloody running away with me, Let me just have a bit of a skim here. Sorry, folks, I'm going to have to do a bit of a skim. I still love watching Pop Back too, man. I can't do it, but I did the first bit a little, not too bad, but then I went downhill after that. Let me see. Sorry, I'll just skip in here, see if there's any new people in here. Tillemans is midfielder from Leicester. See, that's how fucking nothing I know about football. He's from Leicester. Kind of like a playmaker. Oh, of course he's from Leicester. Who was I thinking of? Why did I get that confused with Arsenal? Who was I thinking of? Tierney? Maybe I was thinking of that. Kind of like a playmaker, has an eye for a pass and chips in with the odd goal. Didn't have a good season, but historically good. Yeah, maybe. Look, if we're looking at relegation candidates, and again, limited knowledge. Possibly, I'd be tempted for Bazuna, the Southampton goalkeeper and Irish goalkeeper. It looks like Brentford might be playing a bit of hardball with Raya, which from Tottenham's point of view, I don't get why we're dragging our heels on it. I really don't want to wait till the 1st of August to get a fucking goalkeeper. I really don't. So if Brentford have got an asking price, because that's one of the two key positions we need. We need a bloody goalkeeper and a defender before anything. Especially a goalkeeper, man. We need a goalkeeper. I don't know. I think Forster. The thing I liked about Forster this year was you could see the difference between him and Hugo with his surety with the ball at his feet and getting it back out there. Hugo was absolutely crap at that. The only thing is Hugo on his day, which hasn't been for a while, was better shot stopper than Forster, but I still think in that capacity, Forster was adequate as a keeper. I'm not saying he's crap or anything, but if we want to build something great, I think we've got to you can't win anything without, or you can't push for anything if you've got a bad goalkeeper. Very, very rarely that happens in football. I have full faith in Ange. Zero and Levy, me too. This Levy speech on we must keep one of Davies or Dyer's. What? Where's he said that? Has he really said that? But in fact, Davy signed a new contract. What? Are you telling me is this fact? Is this fact or is this like ITK shit? Because I'm very skeptical of the old ITK stuff because I've heard it been wrong so many times. So I'm just going to have a quick look at Tottenham's Twitter feed because that is the only thing I'm accepting for anything really. I've seen, and not even Fabrizio Romano, nothing. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll be really put it this way though. I'll be really disappointed if Dyer more than Davies hangs around and Sanchez. Hey, hello, Mia. Big up. One thing I've noticed, I'm pretty rubbish at. I've been neglecting putting people's YouTube channels in, to give them a bit of a bump. So I'm really sorry about it. It just slipped my mind. So I'll start doing it with Mia here. If you just bear with me, professional streamer. Oh, what am I looking at my phone for? So let's bung. Oh, I'm so dog shit at this. I'm useless at this. I'm all fingers and thumbs, man. There we go. Oh, come on, dude. Sort your shit out. I do get frustrated with myself from time to time. There you go. There's Mia's channel. Check it out. I mean, if anyone else has got channels they want to share, hopefully else. I don't know if you can type. Can you type URLs in the comment? I think quite often that's switched off by default. So, send a comment. Hopefully, I'll see it, and I'll pass it on. My name's Manny or Emmanuel. Well, I might stick with Manny if that's all right with you. If that's cool, I'm Paul. Nice to get you on board, man. Let's see what else we've got here. Well, look, you know what, man? Who's Striper? Striper? Hang on, I'm gonna have to Google that. I don't know Striper. I know Motorhead. Striper? Dude. Okay, so good one, man. Let me read their about. Striper is an American Christian metal band from Orange County, California. The group's lineup consists of da 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 da. Yeah, Motorhead's a bit more rock and roll than heavy metal to me. I've got a lot of time for Lemmy. I bumped into him once in Los Angeles in a bar on Sunset Strip, the Rainbow Bar. I used to go to LA a fair bit. I always used to get a hotel on Sunset Strip because there were some really good places. A lot of them closed down now, like House of Blues was a good one. What other ones were there? Whiskey Galore was that one? But it's kind of a handy central place to stay, and that was Lenny's bar. I mean, I saw him. I didn't like say hello to him, anything like that. I'm sure he gets. I just didn't want to disturb the guy, but I liked him. I get a strange feeling that okay. Okay. It's Liam's mysterious, strange feeling of the night. Let's see what Liam's strange feeling is tonight, folks. I get the strange feeling that Maddison wants to stay in London and play for a London club. Don't know why. Strange feelings are unexplained, man. It's like Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. But every other aspect, are you looking at horoscopes? Horoscopes, every other, like, Neptune is in his anus or whatever, I don't know. But every other aspect swings in Newcastle's favour. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of people discuss the twos and fro's of where Madison would go, where you think would be more attractive, and I ain't got a clue, mate. I don't know. I could see pros and cons to either, really. I don't know. And you know what? Again, I haven't seen enough of Madison. The few times I've seen him, I haven't thought, oh, I'll buy him. Like when I saw Basuma play for Brighton against us, that was a player. That was a player I thought, bloody hell, I wouldn't mind seeing that guy in a Spurs shirt. Back in the day when I think when it was Trevor Sinclair playing for QPR, he played us, and I thought, bloody hell, he's a player, man. I wouldn't mind seeing that guy in a Spurs shirt. So now and then I get this little twinge just about here, and I think I wouldn't mind seeing that guy in a Spurs shirt. Bobby K, here we go. Good morning, Paul. Everyone in the chat. Morning, Bobby K. I did enjoy your stream with Kuvra and Ellie and the guys this morning. Good stuff. Bobby K did a Christmas special. That's all I'll say. I don't want to spoil anything more for you, but go and check it out. If you're bored with me talking, go and have a look at it now. I mean, I won't be offended. I don't want to monopolise anything. Share it all around. Okay, just conversation there. Okay, here we go. Manny, South Melbourne. So, just in case you don't know, South Melbourne is the team that Ange grew up with his father following. He ended up playing with them, won a championship, captained them, won a championship, managed them, and I think won 2 championships. And I think he's the only player that is involved in all of their championships, the only one person that was involved in all 4 of their championships. So this is important. South Melbourne was the team people like to watch. And apparently I didn't see much difference between Ferenc's side and Ange's side. Wow. Okay, you got me on the edge of my seat again with a statement like that. That is pretty exciting to hear, man. It was like a smooth transition when he took charge. I mean, Ferenc Puskás, I can't even. I mean, he came close to winning the World Cup with Hungary in maybe 1952. Might have been 1952 because then you had the uprising before the next World Cup. So I reckon 1952, Hungary came close to winning the World Cup. Who won it? Who won it in 52? Was it? No, it wasn't. There wasn't a World Cup in 52. It's 50. So it might have been 1950. And I'd hazard a guess that maybe Italy or Brazil, or was it West Germany? I don't know. I can't remember. I used to know all that. So the old brain's going. I used to know all the World Cup winners. And I'll tell you what, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Germany has won the same number of World Cups as England. One. That's all Germany have won, is one. Because all the others were won by West Germany, a totally different country. That's the way I look at it anyway. I think I'm the only one that looks at it that way. The reason, Angelo, g'day, mate. The reason that football in this country has not flourished is because the structures don't mirror what happens in Europe. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm also hoping that the new NSD will become promotion relegation. What's NSD? Because I'm hearing that the A League's bringing in 2 divisions for A League. What's national? Is that a national second division or? So I'm not up with it, man. I know in New South Wales we have. I mean, they're amateur though. They're amateur leagues. Mighty Gladesville and Ride Magic. Hello there. They got done last night, though, man. They got done last night. I think the Sydney University Toffs beat Gladesville and Ride Magic 5-0, I think it was. I think they got a shellacking. Ugh, I don't know, man. I don't know. Sorry, no politics, not Toffs, Sydney University students. I'm sure they're ordinary people. Big up, Paul. Big up, Spurs related. Big up, man. Yeah, that's basically they wanted. Yeah, okay. But I was digressing. Ferenc Puskás. So now he, at some stage in his career, worked with Arthur Rowe at Tottenham. This is why I'm saying that, you know, part of Tottenham's history, you might not realise the effect. So Arthur Rowe worked with Ferenc Puskás in the early 50s. And Arthur Rowe invented that style of football. Obviously it's evolved since then, but he was the first guy to do the, kind of, the 1-2 passing. I think football before that was more, okay, the other side's got the ball, let's just get back and it'd be like a bit more, maybe have more of the appearance perhaps of a rugby game, kind of. That might be a long stretch. But Arthur Rowe invented push and run, and he did a bit of coaching with Ferenc Puskás. Ferenc Puskás then got that happening with Hungary. He got it happening with Real Madrid. Real Madrid became the kings of Europe, a record that I think should still stand. No matter how many teams win, how many European Champions League, UEFA Champions League, I think that European Cup record from Real Madrid stands on its own because it was so much harder to get into the competition back then, let alone win it. Then Ferenc Puskás, after the uprising, the quashed uprising in Hungary, well, that's when he moved to Spain. But then he ended up in Australia at one point. And I think he also did a bit of coaching in Greece, but he ended up in Australia. I mean, who would believe it? One of the world's greatest footballers, coaching a kind of semi-professional club in South Melbourne, man. Football has got crazy stories, man. Crazy stories. They wanted to take away the ethnicity side of things, even when the clubs did their best removing their Greek, Italian, Croatia emblems. Yeah, it's pretty sad, I mean, I think there was possibly, where I draw the line is, I mean, I love people retaining their culture, but I think when there might have been the time of the Yugoslav war, I think that caused a bit of friction between like Croatian, Serbian teams, which that was a stage too far, carrying a conflict from another land over to here. But it wasn't everyone doing it. That's the thing. I mean, I think the way it was portrayed, it was like everyone was doing it, and I don't think that's the case. In fact, I've got three friends now. Three of my bandmates are, one's Croatian, one's a Serbian, and one's a Bosnian. So, it kind of don't matter. Well, it doesn't matter to a lot of people, it really doesn't matter. But I think that probably didn't help things like that. But I think there's nothing wrong with being proud of your roots, man. It does no harm. It adds to where you live, doesn't it? Everyone benefits from it. Like, down the road from me, well, not down the road, but a little drive, there's a place called Lakemba, big Lebanese Islamic area. And, like during Ramadan, they have street food at night. The atmosphere is really cool. I like taking my kids down there at night because it's nice and safe, because you can always bet your buck that no one's pissed for a start. No one's pissed and loosey-goosey, just things like that. There's things like that I really like about Sydney, different areas. You don't get culture like that in the eastern suburbs and Bondi and all that. So when I'm talking about, anyway, no more politics, but Sydney's a rich old place. I do like a lot of it. Levy had better stay out of football matters. He really should. Oh, here we go. Look at this. I need coffee. Big up Hotspur Hippie. Nice to see you, man. Okay, now, all right. So Spurs and Spackle. You reckon you've seen him? I'll take what you're saying here. Maddison's brilliant. He's got 40 goal contributions in 2 consecutive seasons, and he plays as a central attacking midfielder just behind Kane and Son. Okay, man. I haven't seen it myself, but I mean, what you're saying is what a lot of people saying is saying. So I'm not, by any means saying I'm right. I'm just saying with my eyes, I haven't seen that, but then I haven't seen enough of him. And it looks like a few people, the way I've seen them discussing him about, would he go to Newcastle or Tottenham? It seems like an awful lot of people do want him to go to Tottenham. And there was that rumor in the press that Postecoglou was said to Spurs that go for Maddison, but that could be just Fleet Street meatheads just creating a story out of nothing. But maybe it'd be a good sign. A lot of people are excited. Oh, NASA are sending a probe to Uranus. Okay, is that rising? Maybe Liam will let us know with his aspects. G'day, Paul. Looking to your Aussie analysis of Big Ange. Well, I kind of got nothing to analyse at the moment, mate. But I'm going to start 1st of July or whenever he starts the job proper. Because I'm right into it. I love it. I love hearing that rhetoric, and I mean, I'm really excited. What I'm really excited for is our first few home games. What I'm hoping is we just see some atmosphere build, and Ange gets really stuck into it and carries the crowd. That's what I think one of his big strengths is. That's what really excited about him when he was at Celtic for me. National Second Division, okay. NSD, okay. Hey, John, how nice to see you, man. Oh, thanks very much. Arthur Rowe, another forgotten great Tottenham man. The guy that invented Tottenham, total football. I mean, isn't that worth a statue? Arthur Rowe, Bill Nick, league champion winners. Amazing. Actually, the man who started it all. There you go. He signed Bill Nicholson. The rest is history. There you go. There you go. Bobby K, you're a wealth of knowledge, sir. Look, I know a bit, but there's guys out there that know way more than me, man. Time to start work. So have a great day. Good day, Bobby K. Good day. I hope your pussy's feeling all right too. Some games were violent, particularly between Preston Macedonia and South Meld. Oh yeah, that would be a bit feisty, eh? I was scared visiting Preston's ground. Oh dear, how long have we been going? Right, well, I'll tell you what. What I'll do, man, is I'm probably going to knock it on the head soon. I'm kind of running out of steam. I just want to chill and relax a bit. But I'll tell you what, if if anyone wants to come on for a little bit, I don't know if I'll be on that long. What I'll do is I'll put the link in the description. And you all seem to be a jolly cool bunch in the comments. I'm not seeing any twattery, so I'll just stick it in there. If anyone wants to pop on and say hello and have a chat about shit in the off-season filler episode of Hotspur Hippie, I'm just going to get myself a little drink here. See if there's any takers. It was really fun having a chat with old Mark Cousins last night. I went down directions I wouldn't have thought of. Talked a bit about music and just talking shit really. There's only so much you can talk about transfer speculation. So you just got to let it hang out. So links in the comments there. Anyone interested? Other than that, I'll just keep going through comments, but I'll see it when someone pops up. If they want to come in, you're more than welcome to join me. I might put that link in somewhere else. Oh, how do I do this? How do I do this? Hang on. Oh, I'm so shit at doing this stuff. Hang on. If I go here and I go and look at the own. Oh, I'm so shit. There's me talking to myself. Come on, copy the link here. Genius, Ellie says. Genius. Do me a favour. Bobby K's off to work. I'll just stick it in here. See if anyone comes, but if not, you're just stuck with me. Oh, there's a few people watching, so I mean, I'll keep going if people are watching. You know, if you're enjoying chilling out with me, that's all cool with me. Um, Here we go. So, imagining what esteem will be held if they win a cup. Oh, dude. Oh man, you will. I think there's going to be a lot of very grateful people around the London borough of Haringey and outwards to the rest of the world. I really do. I think you're right there. Oh, Mia's coming in. Okay, good on you, Mia. Let's get Mia in. All right, Mia.
G'day. How
How
you
you going,
doing?
dude? Yeah, all right,
Yeah,
man.
not
How are
bad.
you?
Yeah, I'm just actually going off to the outdoor pool with the kids soon, but I thought I'd jump on and say hi because I haven't been on your channel yet since your major success.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm a bit befuddled by it, to be honest. But I don't know how many. Oh God, I've got how many subscribers have I got now? 376. I mean, gee, I find that quite staggering, actually. But so have you heard? Look, I don't pay before you nip out. Like, have you heard any Spurs news that I should be aware of? Because I don't really follow tittle tattle too much. Is there anything that seems to
Um,
be interesting or not?
do you know what? The only thing I was actually quite surprised by this morning when I looked at the news, I have done a video about my transfers anyway, so go over and have a little look later. Is
Right.
that we're actually apparently going to be bidding for for Jadon Sancho, which
Someone
I was quite shocked about that.
Someone in the comments was mentioning that and saying it might have been poo-pooed or something.
Well, there was a lot of, I thought that, and then I looked again and see who else was reporting it, and there was quite a few reports. It wasn't just one rando who said it on Twitter. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was actually some, like, quite a few different papers reporting, but he's got such a high price that I don't think we're going to go for him. It's 60 million, I think they want.
Bloody hell!
I think it's because they paid a lot for him, didn't they? So they're going to try and get their money back
Yeah, offloaded.
for him. But
What do you
yeah.
reckon? Would you pay 60 million for him, Mia?
No, because I feel like that we need to concentrate. If we're going to spend the money, I'd rather we get David Raya, pay the money for David Raya and get that done instead of paying for Sancho because he's not the most important position at the moment.
Yeah, keeper's got to be number one, isn't it? For me,
Yeah,
anyway.
keeper and centre back. Although I think that Matt Law did say that they are the two important ones for us, and we are prioritising them. I just feel like why are we even talking about a Sancho at that price when we need to get centre backs and a goalkeeper? And if we want them to be quality, we don't have to pay ridiculous prices, but we still need that money. You know, like we need that money to go towards that, not to
Yeah,
go to Jadon Sancho.
yeah. So Matt Law, is he like? Because I saw something. I've forgotten who he was having a chat with. I can't remember who it was. It was an interview, and he was talking a lot of Spurs stuff. It was just maybe a day
It
or
was
two ago.
Yeah, it was on Last Word on Spurs. That's where it come
Okay.
from. And I
Is
actually
it?
watched the interview myself, and pinpointed all the different things that people were obviously saying about what he said. I wanted to listen to it myself because I always like to listen to stuff myself, Paul, because sometimes you can get a quote that's mistaken or,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and I don't like that. So I like to listen to stuff myself. And yeah, he did say that what he
Same
did
vibe.
say is what someone said earlier is about not getting rid of Dyer and Davies. That was Matt Law. Matt Law basically said is it's unlikely that we're going to get rid of both, but if offers come in for both, we're happy to get rid of them. That's what he said.
See, I'm not really familiar with a lot of journalists. Is Matt Law someone to be trusted, or is he a bit of a
Yeah,
bullshit?
a lot of people don't particularly like him because he's not particularly complimentary about the club all the time because he actually covers Chelsea and Tottenham. So
Right.
he's not a particularly popular guy amongst some people, but he did say that that he tries to be fair and he doesn't actually dislike Tottenham. I think he just gets misunderstood because he is just reporting on stuff that people maybe don't like to hear, I suppose. Maybe it's that.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
But
there's
yeah,
this Angelo here is. Is there any truth in the rumor, Mia? I put it to you, or Angelo puts it to you, that you want Jason Donovan and Kylie Minogue as Angie's assistant. Is this correct?
Not as the assistant, but I think we should have them on singing the song at the beginning and at the end of like when the game finishes. I would love a
Oh
bit of.
God!
I would. I would love a bit of Kylie and Jason. They were my heroes since I was like 5. I absolutely loved Neighbours and loved Kylie and Jason. So
Well, it's got to be because you know what? Whenever I watch matches, I cannot stand that they play the bloody tune from the Phantom Menace when the players are coming up. Dun, 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 dun,
I
dun. Oh,
know.
that is the most dumbest. I mean, it's a crap film. What do they think? People don't know it's from the Phantom Menace. That you think so? Spurs are walking out, and you're thinking of yes, sir, Jar Jar Binks and shit. I mean, come on, Tottenham, come on, Tottenham. The only tune they should be playing is "Glory, Glory, Tottenham Hotspur." That's it.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that one, but I think especially for you, could get the crowds like getting all like soppy and love a bit of especially for you.
So, mate, all right. So, are you seeing this as part of the healing process between fans? Because fans are a bit divided. Maybe a bit of, especially
Yeah.
for you. You know, you'll get people, enemies, just look towards each other, maybe smile with a tear in their eye, give each other a hug, and we're all as one again. We're all the one Tottenham Hotspur Football Club family.
Yeah, we've got to feel the love. Like we've got to make the love come back. And what better couple to make the love come back than Kylie and Jason? They performed it a couple of times together, but not very often. But the first time they did it together, and I think he brought her on to sing it. Oh my God, it was just magic. It's so special, and that love that you felt when they were in love in Neighbours. So why not get it?
Oh, you're killing
I
me.
am just joking, everybody. This is
You know,
me
you
just
know,
joking about.
more people watched Neighbours in England at its height than actually live in Australia.
That's wild. I loved
Wow.
Neighbours, man. Such a good program. Oh, I do have to go because I'm
All
literally
right.
my brother has arrived for me to go and tan myself up a bit more.
Okay, well, I hope that song spreads the love, but I think you might need a few sick bags about the place as well. But have a nice day, Mia.
Lovely talking to you. I will pop on again, Paul, next time. It's great that you've got your own channel. So
Cheers, dude. Cheers, dude.
brilliant. Right, take care.
Cheers.
Right,
Bye-bye.
bye. Bye.
So there we go. That's Mia there from Spurs Between the Lines. She does like daily updates of transfer news and whatnot. Something that I can't be asked doing. So that's it. The Spurs YouTube is a broad old family. You've got something for everyone. If you want all that, you've got a place to go. If you just want to hear bollocks, then here's the place. Um, Lewin Hartley. Hi, Paul. Jadon Sancho surely would be hard to fit in with our current group of players. Can't see him being a replacement for Son or Kulu. It's not a player I know enough, but like I'd have to agree with Mia. It doesn't seem like a position that's a priority for us at the moment. If we are on a bloody limited budget yet again, well, hang on. We're always on. Every club's on a limited budget, no matter who they are. If we're on a budget, say of 150 million this summer, or 100 million, or whatever it is, then spending that much on a player in that position, I think, is not right. And I'm also a bit. That's one of the reasons I'm a bit wary of getting a Maddison in. I would much rather get a goalkeeper in, central defender, whatever comes along, and maybe address that kind of creativity in maybe in the January transfer window when Ange's got more of an idea of how his team fits together. I'm not sure though. I'm not a football coach, I have no idea. Oh, Matt Law's from the Athletic. Okay. I don't mind the Athletic. I don't subscribe to it, but what I know about the Athletic really is when you hear Charlie Eccleshare and people like that on Danny Kelly's View from the Lane podcast, and they seem cool enough. Manny says, I'm looking forward to hearing the new songs about Ange. Yeah, I was saying this, man. The Celtic ones were ecstatic, great. are Tottenham going to use those ones because they weren't bad, or a new one's going to come out? I tell you what, whatever happens, it's going to be a banger at White Hart Lane, man, a banger. Ange was a neighbour's man; he had no choice. Oh no, dude, no, no, no! Come on, man. I mean, I'm trying to get rid of the cultural cringe in Australia, and you're just bringing it back, man. Lucky Singh, uh, can't read those first words. My eyesight's gone a bit, but he's got blue and white there. I think he's saying Tottenham Hotspur, excellent football team. Yeah, big up, Lucky Singh. We're all 100% with you there. Lucky Singh also says Tottenham Hotspur, real deal. Absolutely, absolutely. Flying the blue and white Spurs colours. Good on you, Lucky. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Uh, Manny says maybe Spurs fans could make up an Ange song with the Neighbours tune. Oh my god. Oh my god. Could you imagine something like that? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Ah, well, how long we been going here? An hour and 40 minutes. I think I'm running out a bit of steam here, chaps. Running out a bit of steam. I've put some feelers out if anyone wants to come on. What I'll do is I'll just paste it in one more place. And see if something wants to come on. Richie B, nothing wrong with my eyesight. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's just sometimes I get a little bit blurry and then it clears up again. But it's nice to have a full house of Tottenham Hotspur fans because we all know that every other team's not worth it, don't we? Hey, sorry, and as long as my actual, not rumoured targets have been identified by Ange, as long as any actual, not rumoured targets have been identified, I'm sure he's working on his list since starting talks with Spurs. Oh, dude, like I've heard Ange say, you got me going again here. Thank you. I was flagging. You've pumped me up again. Oh, yeah, you're in trouble now. I'm hanging around a bit longer. Um, uh, I've heard Ange say, I mean, Ange is so obsessed by football, right? So what he does, this is what I heard him say in an interview. I can't remember where. Like he works football all day, and then all he does at evening to unwind and relax is watch football games. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he's worked out what he wants. Because what he was saying is he watches games because he says now and then he sees something. He sees something. He thinks, okay, I can use that. I mean, this is the like you know what. Let me just go back to this Bill Nicholson quote, right? Let me just go back to this Bill Nicholson quote because I think it is really important because this is kind of what I'm going to get onto with Ange here. Because the headline was Bill Nicholson quote. So let me just read this one because I don't know if anyone was here at the beginning. Okay, so this is a Bill Nicholson quote, Tottenham Hotspur's greatest ever manager. Intelligence doesn't make you a good footballer. Oxford and Cambridge would have the best sides if that were true. It's a football brain that matters, and that doesn't usually go with an academic brain. In fact, I prefer when it doesn't. I prefer players not to be too good or clever at other things. It means they can concentrate on football. So he's not saying he wants dumbasses or stupid people. He just wants people that think in a football way. And when I heard Ange talk about the way he watches games for fun, and he spots things he can use. He says a lot of time he watch the game once he watch games and won't see anything, but now and then something will pique his interest and he'll incorporate it. This is what I mean. You know, people talk about Ange's age, but Ange is always learning, man. Always learning. He's watching games, he's studying football, and he's always picking things up. So even though I think while he was at Celtic, his attention was 100% with Celtic, in the evening when he was watching games, he would have been watching all sorts of games, and Tottenham games would have been some of those. And I'm sure the old football brain would have started revolving, maybe pulsing, inflating and deflating slowly, with all that football goodness. So I think you're right, man. I think he's ready to go. He's ready to go. Richie B, what did you miss? Well, we did some Danny Blanchflower quotes. Bill Nicholson quotes. They're all on the internet. And then I just started chatting with people. So, you know, I don't know, man. Angela, you remember John English? I seem to recall that he was very good in Pirates of Penzance. Oh, good. Many dislike neighbours. All right. Let me just have this, you know, because there's a few people in here. Let me just see if there's any anything on Twitter that this cesspit that tickles my fancy that might be worth talking about, that I can have a discussion about with, because oh god, I can't even work a Twitter app. Genius, she says, genius. Oh, well, there's a tweet by Ellie. She's in the hang on, what's this? Okay, sorry, that was something else. Ellie summed up a bit about our European triumph in '63 on a tweet. We became the first British team to win the European trophy, and I forgot this is an important bit. We beat Atletico Madrid 5-1, man, 5-1. Terry Dyson with an absolutely fantastic fifth goal, which I think was like from near the halfway line, and he used to go on about it all the time. I heard other players talk about Terry Dyson going on about this goal all the time. Yeah, glory days, man, glory days, fantastic. Oh, there's a bit of politics. Don't want to do politics. Oh, right. Well, last word on Spurs. I've tweeted 31 minutes ago. Tottenham and Barcelona will schedule a meeting next week to try and finalise a deal for the permanent transfer of defender Clement Lenglet. Spurs could sign Lenglet for just $6 million due to Barcelona being able to save in the region of 30 million euros in wages. All right, I'll open it to you lot. I'll tell you what we do. This is something worth maybe thinking. Lenglet for 6 mil? Question mark. There we go. What do we reckon? I'll give you my 2 cents on it to give you time to put your thoughts in and lock it in. I wouldn't be doing it. I know it's only 6 million, but all these millions add up, and he's going to be taking wages as well. And I can't see him being fast enough. I can't see him being fast enough as a centre back in an Ange style player football, because like if you're up there into the pitch and you lose the ball, you've got to tear ass it back and protect your own goal. And I remember one game in particularly. It might have been the game against. They were dressed in blue, so I think it was Man City, where it was the game where we were 2-0 up at half time, and then our defenders just absolutely threw the game away. It might have been against Leicester though as well. It could have been against Leicester. And I remember Lenglet just got outran. He got absolutely creamed by the opposing side. So, you know, nothing personal against the guy, but dude, I think I'd actually even be a little bit disappointed if we signed him. I mean, I suppose as a squad player, let's think about that then. As a squad player, I mean, maybe there's. I can't even see your quotes yet, so I'm just gonna ruminate a bit, and then I'm gonna look at your quotes and see what you lot say. Because I've not thought about this before, so it takes me time to express my thoughts sometimes. So maybe as a squad player, it's the centre backs who we've got. We've got Dyer, dog shit, Tanganga, rubbish, Romero, good. So we've got one. I'll keep the good ones on this end. So we've got Dyer, Tanganga, Davies can play in the middle, Lenglet. Let's say we buy a decent one in. That means we've got 2 good centre backs. Is Longley better than these other 3? Oh, he might well be. He might well be. He might well be. Yeah, bugger it, buy him, 6 million. I think as a backup, maybe it's not a bad option actually. Now I'm thinking it through. As a first team player, if Longley is our solution to our centre back miasma of putrid decay, I'm definitely not for it. But if he's as a backup to another signing we get in, then I can see how that could be possible. Right, that's it. Now let's see what the internet nutters have said. Are you with me or with you against me? Let's have a look here. Let's get the link and join. Get no, Angelo. If you've just got a microphone, there like Mia did, you can just talk. You don't need a camera to come on. If you've got a microphone in your computer or on your mobile phone, if you're watching this on a mobile device, that link will work. We don't have to see you. We're not going OnlyFans here, Angelo. I know you save that for your paying customers, man. That's cool. Okay, so Dragon D's nuts says nah, full stop. Is that your final offer, Dragon? You're not budging? Because you typed that comment quite early before I rather eloquently put my position. Have I persuaded you something, or are you just dead ball no? Dead ball no. Maybe you are. Absolute bore. That's a great name, man. Squad filler. Okay. I'm with the people. Well, I've got 50-50 so far. Okay, Richie B, Langley, squad player. Good on the ball, has a decent pass, better than some of our current options. Okay, it's 2-1 in the chat against Dragon here. Clem Long, Jimi Hendrix. That's, cool name. Doesn't work in an Ange system. This buy doesn't make sense. I also get that as well. It's not like I'm going to die on a hill for this one. So I can get why you and Dragon would both say that. I think my gut feel is a squad player, and maybe his. Hang on, how much are they saying he's going to save on wages? 30 million euros. So does that imply we'd be paying him 30 million euros in wages? I don't like the sound of that too much. Over how long? How long's his contract at Barcelona got left? What's that? I can't even work it out, man. 100 grand. Maybe it's not that much, is it? I mean, I say not that much. I love it when we all start talking about all these millions of dollars. Like, yeah, fuck it, that's not much, is it? Get him in. It's only 30 million euro. Bugger it, and here's me. Drinking water. John Fitzpatrick, we have zero ambition. We'll be going out signing 7 new players. Yeah, well, we kind of did that a bit last summer, didn't we? We signed quite a lot of players, but a lot of them, that was a weird old transfer window because it started off with such a bang, buying players right at the beginning. Well, I think we got maybe Basuma and Richarlison great at the beginning. I was very excited about Basuma, not so much about Richarlison. Jed Spence I was excited about. Perisic I was excited about because I'd seen him play. I hadn't seen him play for his Italian club, but I'd seen him play for Croatia, and I thought he was an excellent player. So I was excited about him. And these things didn't work out, but that kind of volume of players, it might happen, man. Ange likes a clear out. We'll see what happens. I'll get a mic. Cheers, man. Oh, hang on. Whoa. I missed Her Royal Highness. I hope I haven't kept you hanging around there, really.
Yeah, you're the king. I'm the queen.
Oh,
You're the king.
no.
You're the king of the chat, man. I'm telling you, it's exploding in Great Britain. How popular you are.
It's not. I've only got 22. I've only got 22 viewers looking at the moment. It's not like I was bloody say Sean bloody Butler goes on, it's like 5 million, you know.
Yeah, but it's a gradual thing, Paul. You'll start off
Right.
with 20, 30, then you'll go up to 50, then you'll get to 100, and before you
Well,
know
you
it, you'll
know,
have 300 or 400 in. I'm
the
telling
first
you.
the first live stream I did was with Colin, and it was
Yeah,
kind of a bit of a dry run to test out my setup and everything, and that had
yeah.
0 viewers. But I had a great time. You know, I had great fun chatting with Colin. I think he enjoyed it too. So the number of viewers isn't it's not really
No.
that important to me. Like, as long as there's enough comments for me to, you know, riff off, or you know, if people come on, then that's cool. But you know,
Yeah. Do you know
um,
what made me laugh just now, right? I said I called you a HHG, right? So that's the hippie hotspur. What from my era, it's genius, but from the modern era, it means gangster. My daughter Angela, she's Ange as well downstairs. I've got an Ange in my house as well. She goes,
I
no, that
need.
means gangster now, Mum.
I mean, well, if I'm gangster, I need myself give myself a bit more bling. I mean, I've got
Yeah,
my gold medal, but I don't like to talk about that, so we'll move on.
you
You
got a
know,
gold medal. Bloody hell!
no,
Come on,
no, we
talk
don't talk
about
about
it.
it.
You've
So
whipped it
what
out and then
about
you put it down.
no? But what about Long Lay? What would you be doing?
Oh, Longley. I'm on the fence with him, you know, because he's a really good passer of the ball. And
Yep.
he's quite cultured footballer, but then he's got defensive frailties because of his pace, which he can't help. You can't help your pace. That's what you've got, right? And he gets fanned out a bit because the defence that we've got are not good, right? So he has to compensate, and he can't compensate because he's not that type of player. He's not a natural defender, and
No,
he does make some errors, like against Man City. He made a blunder when he let it go
was
over his head.
that was the
Yeah,
one I think I was talking about, where yeah, it went over his head,
yeah,
and the Man City player just ran past him, just
yeah.
one on
He
one,
just
just
hasn't got the
easy.
pace. It was
Yeah,
Mahrez, wasn't it? And Mahrez ain't particularly quick, but he could beat Longley. You have to be fast as a defender in this day and age, but you've also got to have a brain, a footballing brain, to see where danger is. That's what Romero's good at. He's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
sub. I call him the submarine. He goes, "Do, do, 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 do." He sniffs out the danger. But then
That
he goes with him. He's got to just learn how to time his tackles. Longley, he's not a in my book. He should be more like a midfielder
yeah,
because
yeah,
he's.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. But I don't
Yeah.
think he's quite good enough to be a midfielder. You know what
No,
I mean?
he's not even
It's
good. Nah. I
kind of bit
know.
like, you
He's
know, not that he's as bad as Dyer by any means, but Dyer isn't good enough to be a midfielder, and that's why he's dropped back
no.
into defence. And I think Longlay's a bit like that, but not as crap.
You see what Pep Guardiola's done with John Stones? He's
No
put him
idea,
in
man.
midfield. Yeah, he's put him in midfield and he's thriving.
Right.
Because he can see that he hasn't got quite the attributes to be a top defender. So he's pushed him in midfield. That was a master stroke because he played really well yesterday. Yeah.
Well, I'll just have a look at some of the chat here.
Yeah. Have a look at the chat.
John Fitzpatrick says 7 good players, Paul. Yeah, all right, man. Yeah, point taken. Point taken. Manny says, get Longley in, a bit of depth in the squad. That's the only reason I can see for getting him is just
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
backup. I still think we needed, if we're relying on Romero and Longley, you know, if we're relying on the same clowns, basically, it ain't going to be good, is it? It's just going to be. Well,
No.
look, if we're playing attacking football, maybe we're not going to rely. We are going to leak goals, but maybe we'll be scoring a few more as well. But I'd rather get the backs stitched up a bit. You know, you can't. I
Yeah.
think you need a good base to build off. You know.
Yeah. Do you know when you go in
40,
for a major operation? That's what we need.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Big up, Paul. See, I'm used to.
Mm.
I am maybe a bit gangster. I'm used to saying big up now, Ellie. It felt very
Yes.
unnatural to me, a man of my mature years and standing in society, to say things like big up. But I quite like it now. I think it's part of the
Yeah.
YouTube thing, isn't it? It's sort of all right.
Yeah.
It's better than oh, hello, how do you do? like bloody Jacob Rees-Mogg with his big top hat with a frayed Bentos pie under it. And I'm not going to get into politics. This is a football show. Richie B, Conte ruined most of them. I think you might have a point there as well. Yeah, like you could see Basuma and Sonny come a bit back to life under Mason, really, couldn't you? Not that I'm saying Mason's great, but I think, the more I look back at Conte, man, and I was all in on the guy, the more I look back, the more I'm sort of kind of a bit bitter and twisted about him, actually. I think he left us in a really, really shit state.
Well,
What do you reckon?
He left us in fourth, and we could have gone third if we. The thing is, with Conte, he's a results-based manager, and by hook or by crook, he'll get you a result. Yeah, even with the shit that he had to put up with no defence. Are we allowed to say shit? I don't know. Anyway, I've said it, so I can't take it back. Yeah, so I mean, I loved his passion, right? And I loved but I didn't love his football.
Yeah,
I can't lie. I didn't love his football.
Like leaving us in fourth place, but like that other teams had games in hand and shit like that. It wasn't like a proper fourth in our own right. We'd thrown away so many chances to cement third and cement fourth, and we fucked it up every bloody time.
Yeah.
And I mean, seeing the way the fans are, the players look not interested, which I was saying this. I think I was saying this morning that. Like, I don't excuse players for not putting in a shift, but I guess like if you're playing football, you really don't want to play for a whole nearly 2 seasons. Then at least you're probably going to lose maybe that 2% of effort or pizzazz or razzle dazzle or whatever you want to call it. And I think that can in a game of fine margins, 2% is the difference between great and shit.
I agree.
I just don't like the way he left. He had his spray. He should have resigned instead of just waiting for us to sack him. I thought that was not a man of conviction. That's just someone after the dollars.
He basically threw the club under the bus, didn't he? But what
everyone
he said,
except himself.
Yeah, obviously he's not going to blame himself, but I think what he said, everything he said, is actually true.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just a shame that it had to come to a head like that. And the way he said it as well, he goes, "It's not acceptable,"
Not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. What's not acceptable as well is the way, like he didn't put I don't personally think he had his heart in the club.
No, it was a payday.
Know what I mean?
Oh, it was a stage in his career, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe payday's a bit harsh, but I know what you mean. Yeah, but I think this Richie is. I mean, I agree with him. Basuma and also Sonny. Basuma was woeful, really. Like that player that we saw playing for Brighton. That when Brighton played us and I saw Basuma, I thought, that guy would be good in a Spurs shirt. I had that little tingle, and he never really did it. And we saw shades of it under Mason. I think he's got a lot of potential, that guy. And that's Conte's fault,
Yeah. I like Basuma because when we played Brighton in the league, not last season, the season before, they beat us 1-0, last minute Trossard goal. But Basuma had Harry Kane in his pocket, and not many players can do that.
That's right, man. He just bossed the game, I thought, Basuma. Yeah, he was like everything. He bossed it. That's why I thought, Jesus, I thought Spurs could do with a player like that, man. A good hard boss in midfield. Yeah. Mate, I mean, that's the sort of player. I don't know really much about his personality or something, but maybe given time, if he's really good at that, bossing that governor of midfield, maybe he's like a captain. I don't know,
Yeah.
But it's that kind of player, that position I like to see as captain.
Yeah, and I think Højbjerg's days are spent now because I think he's just going to be a squad player.
Oh, Ellie, whoa. What?
Yeah.
Is this an internet exclusive?
Do you know why? Do you know why? Because I'm looking at how Ange plays football, Paul, and he doesn't suit his style. Because like you have to be quick on the ball, 1 touch, 2 touch. Højbjerg likes to put his foot on the ball, and he's a very thoughtful player. He looks around and he takes his time. He's not like one, quick pass. But you never know. You never know. Every manager's fancied him, haven't they? They don't drop him. Right,
Well,
but
maybe
you never know what
maybe
Ange's faults are.
Maybe that's what he was asked to do as well. Maybe he can do it. Maybe he's got other tricks in his toolbox. I mean, like Højbjerg for me isn't one. He's not one of my favourite players.
He
but
hasn't
I know
got it in his hips. Do you know some like Bentancur? I've said this many times. Bentancur,
he salsas over the ball.
He's got Shakira hips, you know.
Yeah,
he can move, and he does like a little pivot, and he's off. Whereas
yeah.
He's got stiff hips.
Yeah, he's like he's like a Tonka truck, isn't he? A Tonka toy.
He is.
Just speaking of which, Tonka toys, I disgracefully have seen the Tonka toys have got plastic in them these days. Not on my watch, son. Not on my watch. It was all metal.
Metal toy.
Metal toy.
Yeah.
They got bits of plastic in them. Cutting corners. Oh, it's the world gone mad. Planet stupid. Anyway, Paul G says 6 million this day is absolutely nothing. See, we're all millionaires, aren't we, when we're talking football stuff? Fuck it, sign him. Do a bit of Alan Sugar. I mean, maybe, nothing. Maybe it's good value as a backup player. You know, that's what I'm. Oh, here we go. But in the opposing corner, here comes Johnny. Long gap, I get that because he was the player we were signing in lieu of this year, wasn't it? You know, we're only getting him because we're getting fucking Bastoni this year. I don't think that's happening. Isn't the player we need? No pace, not great in the air. He can go back to Spain. Get him gone. Wow. Okay.
See, I sort of agree with John because even though he can be a bencher, what is he going to give you off the bench? You can only bring him on when you're comfortable, aren't you?
I'm just thinking of injuries, that's all. I'm not thinking of coming off the bench to turn around the game. There's no way that's happening. But
Sessegnon's injured for the whole of the season, more or less. So I suppose that's one good thing. You could have him on the bench just for that. I don't know.
Maybe he was playing injured. Maybe Sessegnon was just playing. I don't know. I mean, you know, the Spurs medical department. Give him the fucking hammer. That's what our medical department is. Okay, do a few more. Push Dyer back there. No, push Dyer off the skywalk.
Yeah, send him to the Bermuda Triangle. That's what I say.
Bermuda Triangle, yeah. Send him off. Somewhere that Arthur C. Clarke has done. But somewhere Arthur C. Clarke's done a Mysterious Worlds documentary of mysterious happening. That's where you want Dyer to go. That's where he should do his pre-season, and then we can say, unfortunately, it'll be on Spurs official. We're sorry to announce that Eric Dyer has just vanished. Poof, gone. Colin Cross, look at this man here. Look at this dude. Supports since 1958. Spot on, mate. You have to appreciate the past to move forward. Love the show. Thanks, man. I mean, I'll tell you what, Colin and Ellie, what I'm trying to do is, when I was going to Spurs, right, and it's not that I'd have a lot of conversation with people in the crowd, but now you get into chats and you'd hear things that people said about days gone by, and I used to, as a kid, I used to love hearing that, man, and me and my mates, we used to love hearing the stories of the 60s and Jimmy Greaves and Mike and Dave Mackay. He sounds like a complete monster, this guy that could just run a whole bloody game, And then and later I kind of discovered the joy of Alan Gilzean. For me, he just seems like such a character, and I don't think there's enough of that. I know your channel does it, THFC Till I Die, and I think a bit more talking about them. I don't think we should be ashamed of it, man. I think it's it's who we are. It gets you grounded in the Tottenham way. And hopefully
Yeah.
it's exciting for new fans and younger fans. I hope it's really not boring for people, because I'm just thinking of myself as a kid. I used to love all these stories.
Yeah, like someone like Jacob and Parker of Mile High Hotspur. He's always texting me. He goes, "I love you, Ellie, because you always send me things from the past and you give a
Oh,
description of what it was
beautiful,
like.
man.
Like you're not just sending a video with no content, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, you have to. It's true. You do have to remember your past to go forward and see what you was doing right then, and
Yeah.
put those values and those doctrines into what we're doing now. Spurs have always been known as a club that plays attractive football, right? And when we were
We
winning
invented it.
trophies,
I've been
yeah,
banging on this. We invented it. Arthur Rowe invented it.
yeah,
Total football. That was
yeah,
us, Tottenham.
push and run, man,
Yeah.
push and run into space, push and run into space. Simple. Football's not a complicated game. You
Stop, man.
simplify it, you do better. Like Pep. His football is quite simple when you think about it. It's not rocket science. They just keep together and they play little triangles, and they don't do percentage football where they're booting it up, where you can lose the ball.
Where the number of times I saw, it was Torsfed to Terry Fennick, boot, hoof, and then
Oh no. We got him from my husband's team, QPR, after the cup final
QPR,
when we beat them.
4 pound rubbish.
Yeah, they're not doing so good.
It's a shame, though, isn't it? That because
Yeah,
they were always hanging about the first division or second division. Like when Terry Venables managed them, they were playing some good stuff.
yeah,
I mean, to me, that's Chelsea's derby. Chelsea's derby is with Fulham and QPR. We're out of their league,
yeah.
in status.
True. I've got a funny story about QPR and Terry Venables.
Yeah,
So, Jerry Francis was it the other way round? I can't remember who was our manager, but Jerry Francis was either our manager or their manager, and Terry Venables vice versa. And I went
right.
with my dad, and it was at QPR Stadium. And my dad said it was 0-0 with about 2 minutes to go. And because a lot of fans had left because it was a really boring game, my dad shouted, "Are the managers brothers?" And the whole crowd round us started bursting out laughing because he said it was a fix.
Well, the last game I saw at White Hart Lane was in 1995, and it was against QPR, and it's bloody 1-1. But at least I
Yeah.
saw Clinton score. But it was a boring game, man. Oh, dude. I mean, I like the history. It's all part of the romance of football for me as well. It's
Yeah.
we're lucky that football's one of those sports that it's been around so long. You can go back. Even when one thing I don't like is when they're talking about the Premier League record scorer and all this sort of stuff. I like seeing stuff with names like Dixie Dean in there, and and Jimmy Greaves and that kind of thing. It gives more. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Gravitas or something, more mystique to the game instead of everything just being so recent. That it was in living memory. I like seeing things that I weren't around for. Imagining what was that like. Bloody Dixie Dean score. I don't know, was it 600 goals or 60 goals in a season? Ridiculous stuff like that. It would have been incredible to be around.
I don't like the narrative either, Paul, that you're a loser if you haven't won a trophy. Because one of the greatest English footballers, Matthew Letitia, he won
Absolutely.
nothing. Brilliant
Yeah.
footballer.
He just
You admire him.
He just wanted to play for the Saints, didn't he? That's all I've heard him talk about. He just wanted to play for. He enjoyed playing for Southampton. He loved it, and he was like king there. He was
I
king.
know. And
So
apparently he's a Spurs fan as well.
Yeah,
He was a
I'm
Spurs
sure
fan.
I'm sure Matthew Letitia doesn't give a shit if anyone says that he didn't win anything, because I bet you 10 quid that no Southampton fan would ever be saying that to him, and that's all he
Yeah.
cares about, what the Southampton fans think about him.
My niece said something very poignant the other day because she's a big Spurs fan. She's a bit of a nutter like me. She loves Spurs. She phoned me up and she goes, she heard somebody say that Poch was a loser. right? Because the definition of loser is you lose. But I don't see him like that. I thought he made us successful in terms of getting us back up there. And if
In the mix.
only he had a little bit of help from the board, he could have pushed on. You know,
Yeah.
so his hands were tied. And that interview he gave, where he said, I'm only the coach here." That was poignant as well, because he's basically sticking two fingers up to the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, it was it was the same with like when you get to that level and you start being competitive and you're in the mix, you give it. If you're doing that consistently for a few years, then suddenly a trophy drops, and then when one drops, you get another one. Like Keith Birkinshaw, I think we lose a League Cup final before the FA Cup final.
Yeah, we lost to Liverpool, didn't we?
Liverpool.
We was winning with about
Winning.
5 or 6 minutes left, I think it was. And then I
Yeah.
think Ronnie Whelan scored the equaliser. Yeah.
Yeah. So so Keith Birkinshaw was a loser for you know what I mean. It's like I agree with you. With a bit more backing, I think he could have done all right. But unfortunately, Poch is a loser now because he's gone to
Yeah, he's gone to the other half, hasn't he?
Yeah, Toffs and Bother Boys FC at Shithole Bridge. I just don't like Chelsea. I really don't like them. I just don't. They just rub me up the wrong way, man. A lot of their fans rub me up the wrong way. Not maybe some of the recent fans that have come on the coattails of the Abramovich glory, but the core, they were nasty fans when they came to White Hart Lane. I didn't like some of the stuff they were singing and all that. Is not good, not cool.
No. True.
Angelo's asking, where does Big Up come from? I don't know, man. I've no idea. Like every Spurs channel, I don't know if other channels do it from other clubs, but they're all saying Big Up. It's like, hello, good to have you here. I'm kind of getting in with the flow of it,
You're
so
getting
why
down
not?
with the teenagers.
That's it.
Oh dear.
That's enough about Philip Schofield. John Fitzpatrick says, push
about
Dyer
this.
off a cliff. Oh, look, I was only going for the skywalk.
Oh.
I was going for the skywalk. See, if you push him off a cliff, he might land in water and he might be all right. Not that I'm just joking here, folks. I'm not saying
We're not
actually
advocating killing.
Oh, dude. There's probably a nutter out there that goes, oh, violence.
Don't go near any cliffs, Eric. Don't go near any cliffs.
Just in case. Because John might be there. He's going to be there, waiting.
Be there with his
Where is
poker.
he? Where's Eric Dyer? He's going to be at Dover. Just waiting for him. He'll be whispering, hey, Eric, if you get closer, you can see France. And he'll go, huh?
He grew up in Portugal, more or less, didn't he?
Yeah, does he count as homegrown? I don't think he does he? Or?
He does, yeah, because he was born in Cheltenham.
Right.
I think. Yeah, if I got that one right, he was born in Cheltenham. Yeah. But his mum's a big lawyer, so she can protect her son. She'll be there at the cliffside doing his
Ready to
vigil.
sue John. That's the thing, John. Is it worth losing everything? I mean, obviously you could get off the criminal charge because he's put us through. I mean, it's mental torture, isn't it?
Yeah.
But would you get off the civil case if his mum steps in? That's the thing. Would it be worth it? Would you take one for the team? Absolute boy. It always felt that Conte felt he was too good for us, doing us a favour. Yeah, I kind of got that vibe. Maybe not so much in the first season, definitely in the second season. It really, yeah. Yeah, and I was all in on him then.
When you think about it, Paul, the first season, he's like a hero because he took us from 9th, I think, to 4th. But then the second season starts and it all goes pear-shaped halfway through. Not even halfway through, about a quarter of the way through. Right, it went pear-shaped. Then he gets ill. Then he loses his mates. Then he has to have an operation. Then he doesn't come back, and then he throws us under the bus. It was like it was a catastrophic downfall, wasn't it? Right to the end.
Yeah, it was only going one way, wasn't it? From like the World Cup to the end of the season.
Yeah,
I like this one absolutely. Somebody leave you a copy of Football Manager and let him buy and sell players willy-nilly without harming Tottenham. You know, make him think that what he's doing in Football Manager is what's really happening in the club. And then you just because he wouldn't recognise players. A lot of them. I mean, he knows Eric Dyer and Ben. He knows the players committee, but we're going to shove a lot of them out for a start. Hopefully, I hope Ange puts a
Yeah.
stop to all that shit. So Levy can think he's being the big man trading and that, but he's doing nothing. And Ange is at the wheel. Brilliant.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, there's a bit of anti-Conte stuff here. Richie B agreed. He spent too much time belittling our squad to the press, which can't be good for the players to hear every week. His ego really got in the way of helping Spurs. Yeah, and that's something about Ange. He might say things like, because like when after Celtic won the league, they kind of went off the boil a little bit in the kind of dead rubber matches. But Ange was also experimenting with the team a little bit and making sure they were all ready to go for the big one in the Scottish FA Cup final. But he actually took responsibility. He would say general things like our performance wasn't up to it or whatever, just general things like that. And then he'd say things like, well, you know, I did change the team, but he wouldn't sit in a press conference and absolutely bag the shit out of them or even worse, pick on specific players. So I think Ange does a lot with what he says to protect the team, to defend the team no matter what. But you know, if we get our ass handed to a 6-0, he's obviously got to say something like our performance wasn't up to it, you know, but without going too bad on it.
Yeah.
Angelo, he's rolling in it, man. I spent that on my dates with my ex-wife. Well, we don't talk about ex-wives here, mate. Jesus.
I haven't got an ex-wife nor an ex-husband.
I'll tell you what, divorce is expensive because it's worth it. I'll tell you that much. Now this one here, he was inflexible with his tactics. I didn't actually mind that really because I think a manager has every right to stick to the way they play and get the players to fit into it. Maybe it was a bit too much, but you know, mate.
Like you do it highway or the highway with Conte.
Well, Ange is like that as well, but I think with Ange, at least we're going to be getting up there. So even though it might not work out, I don't think there's going to be the same call for him to change his tactics because I think even if we have some bad results, there'll be periods of the game where we're on it and it's working, you know, and maybe the first game it might be maybe even 10 minutes or something like that. But as we go further, we'll be seeing 20 minutes, half. And as soon as we get over 45 minutes of playing all right, then we've done better than all last season, haven't we? Because we couldn't play more than one half the whole bloody game, man.
And sometimes we didn't even play good in both halves.
Yeah. Darlington, Ian Barron, Darlington FC fan, back hope you're well. Have you? Oh no, thank you. That's the
right, yeah.
Thank you, man. Jose was too stubborn. Free Jed Spence. We'll see what happens with Jed Spence. The thing I heard about him I didn't like was his family getting involved about why isn't he getting picked. I think they should butt out of it. He's a grown man.
True.
Blessed to have Harry Kane. What seasons he's had in such an underperforming team. I mean, there you go, Ellie. 30 goals in a shit team. How good's that, eh?
I know. And do you know what? Last season, I think he even played better and he scored 17 goals last season. And I think he had 15 or 16 assists. So he had 33 goal contributions. Whereas this year, he scored 32, I think, and he had 3 assists. So it's a balance. You want Harry Kane to contribute whatever he does. So I think last season, I think he played even better.
The only thing about last season, though, or the season before, is that we had that 3-month Nuno bit at the beginning where he just wasn't interested.
Yeah. Very true. He got a lot of stick. I was in the South Stand and they were calling him all sorts of names. And you think these are they're not like youngsters, they're the older fans, right? Because youngsters, they try and give, I think they're more lenient. I think the older fans, because we've seen better football. Right, and we've seen the glory years. We've seen us win trophies. These youngsters, they've got used to not winning trophies. They're like immune, numb, right? But I think they did really give it to him, and you could see it was affecting him. Yeah,
right.
it was like not down tools, but it was like he wasn't the Harry Kane that we all know. Body
No, well,
language,
I mean,
everything.
it was partly he didn't get his move out, and it was also not winning the Euros, wasn't it? That was, I think
Yeah,
that hit him pretty hard.
I think
And it was nice. It's good though the way he bounced back from the World Cup.
there was
You know,
somebody who said that Nuno didn't speak to Harry Kane for quite a while, but I don't know how true that is because
uh,
I don't know. Maybe they're just stirring the pot. You know what I mean? Some people do
ITK
that.
man,
Yeah,
ITK should be IDK. I don't know.
yeah. You don't
Uh,
know. Yeah.
Dragon D's nuts. First heard big up from the Irish Hotspur. Okay, well I'll buy that one.
Hey.
Dave was the first one to say it. I that could be entirely plausible, and I do like the Irish Hotspur, so I'll
Brilliant.
big up as well. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. You know.
I love David. What a guy. He's
Yeah,
brilliant. And Jack Kanicki as well. We've got to give him a
yeah,
good
yeah.
shout out as well.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Actually, you know what? How am I going to do this? You keep talking about something, Ellie. I'm just
Yeah.
going to paste
So
this
basically,
link in.
I love David. The first time I saw David was on We Are Tottenham TV. And soon as I saw him, I thought, what a character, full of wit, knowledgeable. He says things differently like you do, Paul. He's got a bit of an edge, and when he believes in something, he won't let anybody sway him. Right?
Yeah.
He'll listen, but if he really does truly believe in something, he will stick to his guns, which I like in a person. They don't just change their mind just because the popular crew are saying something. You know what I mean? And also,
Yeah.
like, he's just a character, isn't he? He's lovely.
Yeah, and his old man. What's the story or
Yeah, he's
something?
old man. Yeah, I love that where he goes camping and he goes climbing with his old man, and it's quality time for him. You know, to spend time with his dad, who made him a Spurs supporter as well. So we've got that because he was in Crystal Palace. He said so. Luckily, his dad didn't support Crystal Palace, eh?
Oh, dear,
That
oh
would have been
dear.
even worse.
Yeah, he'd be singing, "There's only one Stevie Coppell, one Stevie." Not the same,
Or
is it?
Simon Jordan.
Oh, don't
Oh my God. I've
start.
just said a swear word.
Oh, hang on. Oh,
We put
dear,
our
oh
cross
dear.
up.
Bloody hell. That was Ellie. Thank you very much. There we go. Oh dear, man. What a What a self-righteous little twerp that guy is, man. I can't stand Simon Jordan.
He
Like
doesn't like fans, does he?
no, he's right some of the time, but everyone's
Mm.
right at the some of the time. It's just his
Yeah.
attitude. He doesn't like fans. He hates footballers. The way he talks about footballers is disgraceful, man, you know.
Yeah.
The only thing he likes is owners. He's always sticking up for owners. Oh, well, the Glazers
Yeah.
are perfectly entitled to take dividends out the club and fuck up Man United, you know. And well, Daniel Levy, and he always says, "Oh, people always say I'm stuck up for Daniel Levy. I'm just balanced." And then he'll say something like, "Daniel Levy is brilliant." It's like, no, you're not balanced, mate. You're just part of the posh lot. You know, you got yourself a bit of
Yeah.
money.
The Millionaire Club.
Yeah, you know. Um, I'll put Irish Hotspurs channel in the comments there.
Yes.
What do we want to finish off with, man? I'm getting a bit tired now. I'm running out of
Yeah.
steam. Oh, here we go. We'll finish off, perhaps, I think, in the wise words of Paul G. Simon Jordan, twats.
Right. Yeah.
I think that says it all, doesn't it?
He could have that on his headstone, couldn't he?
Just twat. Yeah, I mean, I like when Trevor Sinclair was on with him, and you know, I'm not going to get political here, but then you know, when the subject of racism in football would come up, and you've got Trevor Sinclair who played it in the '80s, and God knows what shit that guy would have got when he was playing football in those days. And you know, and Trevor would say something about it, and then Simon Jordan would talk about. He would just not get it. He would just not understand it at all. It was like,
Yeah.
it's horrible, horrible, man. He was just totally dismissive of the whole thing, You know.
Even worse is when he interviewed John Barnes. Oh
Oh,
my
did he?
God.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
I
you've
haven't
got to
watched.
watch
I've
that
seen.
one, Paul. I'll send it to you after the
I,
stream.
because I've seen that pop up a little while ago,
Watch it.
and the only reason I haven't watched it is because Simon Jordan's doing the interview. Because I've seen John Barnes talk about it in lots of different places, and he's really quite smart about what he says.
Yeah.
So what was Simon Jordan like? That was he a twat, as Paul T
Yeah,
says?
I won't give too much away, but it's just like everything that John Barnes is leading to say like black players weren't getting the opportunities as managers as well.
Oh
That
yeah,
is the big thing. But
definitely.
I'll leave it at that so that you can make your own decision. But I won't say what my view was on it, because that's my own personal view. But if you watch it, Paul, you're going to probably come to the same conclusion as me. Yeah, so we'll compare notes after you watch it.
Simon Jordan is a twat.
Yeah, I think John Barnes thinks that as well now. He probably knew it before it.
Oh, he would have known it going in, wouldn't he? I mean, Simon Jordan, he's all like, he loves, Piers Morgan and all that old shit, doesn't he?
Yeah. Is there any such thing as a double twat?
And I'm probably running out of steam, Ellie, because I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit sad today.
Why?
Well, as you know, like I'm from the London Borough of Hillingdon, and I was really sad to see that my MP Boris Johnson has quit as my member. Man, I'm gutted. I said this this morning, because if ever there was a man that was Uxbridge through and through, it was Boris Johnson. And my message to the people of Uxbridge and Ruislip is, don't worry, Boris Johnson will still be living there. He's not going to bugger off to Henley or somewhere else. He's still going to be mixing it down in Pavilion Shopping Centre, the 3 Tons, and all those places there. He's one, but it did affect me, man. Anyway, I'm not going to get into politics.
You go and have a lie down, Paul. Recover.
All right. So what we're going to do here is, hang on, bloody hell! I've got to put the link of your shit in here. See, I'm bloody useless, man.
You make me laugh, man.
Hang on. THFC till I die. And this is Ellie's Ginger Pussy Show.
That was from last night. So you was watching last night then?
Yeah, when I came off air, I watched that. Yeah. Because I like Bobby Kay, and I like just the quizzes and all that.
He's a geezer, as they say in London. He's a geezer. I like the way you did my accent yesterday.
Oh yeah, I saw you clip that.
Do a bit of Ellie. All right,
you
mate.
What?
You what?
All right, so I'll bang
I can speak poshly, don't you? This is just my London accent.
I know, but why would anyone want to talk with a posh accent? It's so pretend, isn't it?
Oh, flipping! I feel sick every time I do a posh accent.
Oh, just you're furball, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just don't sit right, does it?
Conservative.
All right, so there you go. THFC till I die is in the. Is that you? Because you got the other show. Is that on that same channel as well? Is it? Yeah. Or have you got your own channel going?
Till I die. I've got Ellie Ladies Breakfast Show. I might change that title. I'm not sure yet. It's a bit. No, it's a good title. Don't get me wrong, but I might want to tweak it a bit.
Yeah, Ellie's Ginger Pussy Show was in the office.
Yeah, Ellie's Pussy Show. Like your one is good. Hotspur Hippie sounds brilliant.
Well, I'm glad, because I tried a couple of other names, and I'm glad I settled. Because by the time I got the third, I thought, oh, bollocks to it. What? Oh, Hotspur Hippie, that'll do. And I quite like it now.
Got it. Yeah, because you're a unique man, right? You needed a unique title.
Oh, careful.
There's no one like you on YouTube. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
You're unique. Yeah, the Hotspur Hippie. Come on, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button.